Hello, welcome back to Traveler's PROC. Today we are joined by Cyno, the jungle extraordinaire.
SEC legend, defending NBA champion.
Yep.
Important things to note, yeah. Also father of Stu and Pegon.
True, yep.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Cyno. Appreciate it.
Can we get some context behind the father of Stu and Pegon, or?
Well, you know, like, Nozier, after his SPL days, he went to college, and while in college, he worked a part-time job of fostering children in the SEC. And he taught Pegon and Stu everything they know. And I'll look at them, just blossomed in the SPL players they are.
That's so funny, dude. It was so funny when Stu joined the team, or when Cyno joined the team last year when we already had Stu.
Oh, yeah.
And Stu would always give Cyno such a hard time at the beginning because Cyno was coming back. He only played for like 2 weeks, and Cyno would make like a bad play, and Stu would be like, "Dude, what are you doing?" Every single time Cyno did something.
It was just payback for all the shit I gave him.
Yeah, that's fair. Was he a Chalk Jungle hater?
Oh, he hated Chalk Jungle.
Dude, I'm still a Chalk Jungle enjoyer personally.
Dude,
He hated it. Yeah, he hated all my wacky picks, I think.
Dude, if
He just doesn't see the vision.
we need F-Dot back, and then the Chalk Jungle harmony would be fine.
Dude, or even Aggro. If Aggro's casting, Aggro loves the jungle, dude.
Yeah, dude, you're so close. Like, I feel like you guys always have like 4 out of 5 players who like think a little bit outside the box, and now Baskin's your inside the box guy.
Yeah, he hates it, dude.
Can't teach that guy. Too dumb.
Oh, he loves it when he can pick out of pockets, out of the box.
Of course.
Yeah, he does think outside the box every once in a
Anytime
while.
he like sees Chernobog on his ranked game, I like to mess with him. I'm like, crazy that your team doesn't let you play Bog anymore, huh? And he's like, dude, don't even get me started. They lost all faith.
Dude, he was so excited.
I didn't lose faith, actually.
Dude, he was so excited when he was able to pick Poss this last weekend.
Oh,
He
yeah.
loved it, dude. He was so excited.
That's the hound set, right?
Yeah. Dude, it's crazy. I literally streamed like 6 ranked games of me playing post solo. Like the day before that set,
Dude, I
or
watched
2
you
days
play-
before that set, and I literally pulled Fire Giant at 10 minutes every single game in those ranked games.
Dude, I watched you play Agni solo a bunch of games in a row, and you were just dashing and inting off cooldown. You were like, this is so fun. I love it. It was so good.
Dude, Final K owned me the other day. I think I went 2-14. He was playing Kuzumbo. I think that's what I inspired him to whip it out today.
Nice. You guys are foreshadowing the SPL picks. I love that. But yeah, I think for today, we wanted to do this episode earlier. I think at one point on the podcast, we had actually said,
supposed to,
we
yeah.
wanted to have Cyno and Nico on, and we were going to do it for NBA playoffs. Long story short, schedule got all messed up, so we're doing it now. NBA season is coming back.
Tuesday.
It's Tuesday. Nice. Let's go.
Ring night for the Denver Nuggets.
For the Nuggies, yeah. For those of you who don't know, Cyno and of course my community legend Meerkat are big Nuggets fans, so it's a big night for them.
Yeah. Dude, I'm excited to watch just basketball in general again with Wemby. I want to watch every single Spurs game. Like,
Dude, his highlights are so crazy.
It is
man.
insane.
They're so nuts.
Okay. We're going to talk. The main thing we're going to talk about is like SMITE positions versus NBA positions. But before we get into that, who does everybody have for their winners of the NBA Finals this year? I already know what your answer is. I want to hear yours first, Mike.
Okay.
Well, actually, no. I don't know what your answer is because you're the biggest
He's
doomer.
the biggest doomer ever.
Yeah.
The biggest doomer.
What's your pick?
I don't know. I got to think about it. I feel like for the East, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm a Milwaukee fan this year. I don't know.
Dude, the East got worse in my opinion.
I kind of think so, dude. Okay, Milwaukee's so weird because I think Drew Holiday, I just think is a beast. Maybe it's the Celtics, but I don't know. I feel like the Celtics also have like kind of the same problems every year, and also I think like a couple of the players, like Brogdon was really good, and Robert Williams was really.
They're
good
gonna get
too.
injured as well. That's like the Celtics' problem, dude. That's the best thing about playing like a game like SMITE is there are injuries, but it's like.
They're like
You have to be super injured to not be able to play, basically.
Yeah, most of the injuries are honestly just mental from ranked. That's the only bad
I was
thing.
gonna say, what injuries are there in Smite?
I mean, if someone I'm not saying like people can get carpal tunnel from playing.
Oh, I thought you were like referencing like a Smite injury that happened or something.
No.
I've had it when I was like lifting. I would like jam the heck out of my wrist or something, but it was always my keyboard wrist, so no problem. But,
Yeah.
it can happen.
I was trying to think if somebody like broke their wrist or something.
Playing SMITE.
Yeah. Or no, like a SPL player. Like,
They just
Did they
rage.
die?
It's Turbo Rage, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's been a lot of League of Legends players like over the years that even my brother like has struggled with carpal tunnel. So
Okay,
I mean, it definitely can happen to people that play games for sure.
I feel like for League and stuff too, like just the actual like APM you need to play like, so high.
Also, dude, auto walk and Smite, I feel like prevents so many people from getting carpal tunnel.
I can't, dude. Anytime I play a ranked
It's crazy.
game and somebody stands still because they have to type because they don't have auto walk bound, I lose my mind. Like I hate it.
Dude,
so
that's
much.
that's crazy that people don't play with auto walk.
Yeah.
That's a good tip. Like if you're playing Smite, play with auto walk because it helps your hands and it helps you in game as well.
It's so helpful even just to type like, oh, I want to like wait for my relics, or like, oh, this guy doesn't have beads. Like it helps so much if you want to type anything to your team. Also, it hit me. That's maybe a wild take. I might be all in on the Clippers, which is like such a historically bad take. Such a historically bad take. But I don't know. I kind of think they're good if they're healthy. That's always the problem.
You might be a genius though if the Clippers are actually good.
I kind of think they're going to be really okay. This sounds dumb, but from my experience in Smite, I just think like team environment stuff is a big deal. And I've just seen so many like random clips on Twitter and stuff of like that whole team like getting along, or there just being like a lot of really like just like random news things I've seen that just seems like it's just got a good vibe. So I don't know, I could see it.
I mean, they have the players to do it for sure on that team. But it's just if they're gonna be on the floor or not.
It's a
more than like
20%
20% of the 20% of the year.
The issue with that as well is the Nuggets own the Clippers.
That is true. That's a bad matchup.
The Nuggets have lost like one game against the Clippers in like the last 4 years.
Has Kawhi played though in a lot of those matchups?
Even when they're
really?
healthy.
Kawhi played like the bubble series, right? I think Kawhi played and they got owned by the Nuggets so hard.
Well, they were up 3-1, right? In that series?
I mean, after the Nuggets won that, like the Nuggets barely lose to the Clippers.
That's funny. Dude, it's crazy that they lost that series though. That
was a playoff P meme.
Oh my god, dude!
That in the OKC.
He hit the side of the back.
Yeah, that's dude. You know what sucks? Like, he probably made so many good plays in that series, and like was owning. And the only play anyone will remember, and it's for me too. I only remember him shooting off the side of the backboard.
Yeah,
it's the same thing with Smite. Like, you could have like the best series ever, but if you like miss a Kraken secure on fire, that's literally the only thing people remember from the entire series.
It's so sad too, because the year before that, he was like second in MVP on OKC. I think like Harden beat him or something. I don't even know who, but it's a sad, tragic career. Also, Paul George went from like one of the most loved players ever because of his like bounce back from his like horrible injury, and now just everybody rags on him for like
load management
and load management. All of it.
Dude, his podcast is really good. Speaking of podcasts, shout outs to the Paul George podcast. Actually,
I haven't listened to it. I got to. Though.
You should check it out. He has the guests he has on are always really good.
I've seen clips of it. I just haven't listened like a full thing.
And then some of the stories that people share on that podcast are crazy to hear. Like I've a lot of Kobe stories, and then a lot of Kawhi stories as well. He always tells, which is funny because that guy is quiet, like to the public.
Dude, there's so many like so much player driven like NBA content. I think it's so cool. I don't know if you guys watch the NFL a ton. I don't know do you keep up with the Broncos still?
No.
Yeah,
I try to watch. I watch a decent amount of NFL.
You watch it, but you're just mad right now.
I haven't watched the last couple of games. Well, they played the Chiefs, so I knew they were gonna lose.
There's like the Kelsey brothers have a podcast, and that one's really good too. They're fun to talk to or fun to listen to.
That's a great podcast.
So positions. What is everybody's? All right, let's go through them one by one. Okay. So we'll start with point guard. I don't know how should we do this because I don't want everybody's opinion to get swayed by other people's opinions.
Okay, I also had a question for this.
Like, I was gonna say it's based on the season.
I was gonna say, do metas control it?
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
I think we should do it like as generically as possible, like all the seasons and metas combined into one thing for like the basis of it.
Yeah, how do you want to avoid bias? I mean, we could write it on our phone and then keep it.
We could just do like a 3, 2, 1 countdown. How much time do we need? Do you guys need to think about it all?
Okay, you do the countdown, but no, I know what I would have for point guard.
Do you know what you would have for point guard?
Yeah.
Okay, and we could also have multiple roles. How about instead? If we want, like, if you really feel strongly,
we'll just say like one at the start, but then we
and then we can get into it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. For point guard, 3, 2, 1, jungle.
Jungle for sure. I feel like the only meta where I would argue it was support is any invade meta or like you know that like season 3 like worlds meta that you guys did on Eager?
Yeah.
I think you could maybe argue support there, but I'd still say jungle.
I feel like you can argue it for a lot of the seasons for support as well, to be fair.
I was gonna say last season with
last season was pretty big too. Yeah.
I feel like supports could have a lot of like agency on the map.
Yeah, actually, yeah, last year is a good one. I think it's just like, I feel like the less attached the support is to duo, the more like agency they have over the map, and the more it's like the point guard thing.
Yeah, and then for people that are listening that don't really follow basketball, I guess I should have prefaced this before we did this. Is like the point guard is usually the person who dribbles the ball and like kind of runs the offense, and the offense is like in Smite, if you're making plays around the map, it's basically the same thing. So that's what point guards do. They usually control the game's pace, which is what junglers do.
Yeah.
And they set up plays for their team everywhere on the floor. So
I feel like the point guard take of it being like jungle support is pretty obvious. Is there ever a season where you think you could argue one of the laning roles?
I think you could argue Hunter as well, or like the ADC, whatever you want to call it. I hate ADC still though. But
Honestly,
yeah,
maybe season 6, like, I honestly would not have jungle top 2 season 6. They just got owned.
What year was Twig mid?
7.
Oh, true. Yeah.
I feel like I remember watching him. He definitely played like he controlled the pace.
Honestly, that's less of a role thing, and that's more like a Captain Twig thing.
One of my favorite things. I wish I brought it up when Twig was on the. I don't know. I don't remember if I did or not. But Benji literally said, "Dude, how are we supposed to play against this team? They have 2 of the best junglers in the league jungling at the same time." This is what Benji said. You guys just had a double jungle going on, basically.
Yeah. It was so fun because the year before that, I would like chain gank solo as well. And then I was like, oh, we have Twig. I don't have to do that anymore. Twig does it. I have 2 gankers, OP. Yeah, I don't know. I think like, okay, in season 6, the hunter role, long lane role, duo lane, whatever you want to call it. Duo lane carry. Dude, what did we actually call it when we had spin on? We talked about it.
Well, yeah. Well, it's physical power in Smite. It's not attack damage. That's what ADC is from. ADC is attack damage carry. In Smite, it's physical, so it'd be PPC, but that sounds stupid.
I forget what we called it. It's something like that.
But it's also not auto attacks either, because the people also said, they always argue, oh, auto damage carry. Yeah. But it's not, they're called in hands. You know, it's funny because...
Yeah, I remember Bart would always say basic attack.
Basic attack?
Hand, yeah.
I don't even think basic attack is the correct terminology either, which is funny. I feel like in hand, I think I talked to Ajax about this.
In hand makes me think melee, though, for some reason.
I don't know what... Ajax explained it to me. I don't remember what he said exactly. But I was like, that makes sense why it's called in hand. Because it's not a basic attack because... Well, I guess it is a basic attack. I don't know. Basic attack's probably
It's definitely
fine.
not auto attack though.
Yeah,
it's for sure not auto.
Because you're not like in League. You right click someone, it automatically attacks them. So that's why it's called an auto attack in League. In Smite, you don't look at someone and Honor starts going like this.
That'd be so broken, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe that year. Okay, there were 2 years. Wasn't it season 3 as well, where the ADC was left alone for a long time? Like, in both those years, it's kind of weird because like they kind of don't have agency, but also like I kind of think it's even been true the last couple years. Like your ADC's decision making of like, for example, like let's say Gold Fury's down.
Yeah.
Whether they choose to split push or come to a pyro and force a fight or like match that rotation is like such a big moment in the game. I feel like they kind of do control the pace there. Like it's like in some points, kind of your ADC's call a little bit. Like if your ADC's just like, yeah, I'm too weak, I can't fight that, but like kind of automatically like changes the game. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess every role kind of has that. Like your soul laner can be that way
with TP as well.
TPs, yeah.
Yeah, but I think we hit it. It's funny that we all agreed. I wonder if we'll all agree on like every single role or not.
I think that was the easiest one.
That was definitely the easiest one.
For sure.
Lermy saying in chat that they use basic attack standard across the game. But I remember Ajax saying it wasn't basic attack when I talked to him, but maybe
I've heard
I
in hand a lot for sure.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go to shooting guard, but so shooting guard basically in basketball is someone who scores a lot of the points, right? And then is like the primary like isolation player, like 1v1, makes a lot of like think James Harden if you're a basketball fan. I guess people probably want to know who James Harden is, but like a bunch of 1v1 plays and like trying to outplay people basically. Usually pretty good at handling the basketball as well. Do you want to add on to anything that I've said for shooting guard as well?
No, I've just been thinking of what role it is. I think for me, there's like these ones are pretty tough, but yeah, I'm just thinking.
All right. Do you guys have something that you're happy with yet or no?
Yeah.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Mid.
Yeah, I'm the okay.
Okay, those are the two though that I would say.
I thought about mid a lot, and the reason I said ADC is because I feel like the problem with shooting guard is there's like two types of shooting guards. Like to me, like James Harden, for example, is kind of like a combo guard, you know, where like he can handle the ball and he can be the playmaker and he can do all those sort of things. But when I think of shooting guard, I think of people like, I guess Klay Thompson now plays like 3 and 4 a little bit as like the NBA has gotten smaller. But I kind of think of people like Klay Thompson or Reggie Miller where you're like, you're running them off screens and like you have to set up the offense in a way for like them to get open shots and them to be in a good spot in the game. And that's kind of how I feel about ADC. Like, I feel like if
Richard Hamilton as well.
Yeah.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you have to put people in a spot to succeed in that position a little bit. And like you can ISO them, but that's why I think like ADC is a good example for that, because like if you're an ADC player and your support and your jungler just grief the game, they're just inting off cooldown, like you don't have any impact really, but like you can still have like an ISO like 1v1 play and solo someone.
It's crazy to think because Solon is another good argument as well, because it's just a 1v1 lane as well. Like if you're playing a full ISO, like you'd think Solon too.
Yeah,
Silly Goose is saying shooting guard's got to be ADC. I mean, it's a good take too, because just the 1v1. Well, I was thinking for mid, like you said, there's like a lot of different ways you can play shooting guard. You can make plays, and also you can play isolation. Like think Paul, like he loves taking the 1v1s. Like he's a dual main, so like that's what makes me think of mid for shooting guard. But I think you can argue Hunter or Solon just as much for sure.
What about you, Nojer? Why did you say mid?
Well, when I think of shooting guard, I think of like Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, James Harden. You know, like let him cook. And that's what I think of like Paul. You know, like just let him cook. Like
that's fair. Yeah,
he'll go get a bucket. You know, when you need one.
That's true.
Yeah, I could see that. I think I'll say the rest of my piece in the next couple of roles because I'm sure it'll come up. But yeah, I think that makes sense as well. It really is difficult because like the NBA as well, like the positions are kind of just like intertwined more than ever. Like it's more like positionless basketball is what they all call it, because there's just like just a skill level of players,
especially
like,
now. Like
like I mean, you see like we were talking about Wemby, like 7'4", like handling the ball and like running, like it's just nuts. Like you would have never seen that 60 years ago. Yeah,
me and Cyno were actually talking in the car when we were driving here. Like today's NBA is actually shorter than like the older NBA, like the 70s through the 90s. Like
that makes sense. Yeah.
Like there's a lot more combo players that are like the average, or like the average is more down to like 6'6", 6'7". Like back then it was like higher up than that, which is crazy to think.
I feel like just the skill level of people when it comes to like ball handling and shooting, just Steph Curry impact, like it's so crazy now how good everyone is.
Yeah. All right, small forward. So I'll let you explain what small forward usually does. I'll give you a couple of them. I could add on to it.
To me, I feel like small forward's the hardest position to explain because I feel like it really depends on the type of player. Like
I think it's like the Swiss Army knife of the team.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like
to me, like the iconic small forward is just obviously LeBron, in my opinion, where he's just like literally good at everything. Like like kind of jack of all trades sort of thing. LeBron, maybe you could say also master of all trades, but like if you're not thinking about him specifically, like there's small forwards who are maybe really good on defense, like maybe people like Scottie Pippen who are really good at like switching or controlling like floor space, or like you can manipulate matchups. Maybe you can like they tend to be like pretty good like slashers, or like slashing on offense, just like cutting to the rim, you know, like they're more off ball on offense than I feel like on defense. They're really versatile because they can normally guard a lot of different positions. That's how I see small forward, at least.
Yeah, that's good. Like basically in Smite is they kind of like imagine someone who does everything for the team, kind of.
Yeah.
And that's what small forward does. And also they have like a strong impact. I feel like a lot of the small forwards, like you said, are good on both ends for for the most part. I feel like offense and defense. What would be like? I guess defense equivalent in Smite would be like defending against like sieges and stuff, and like defending your own buffs. Like I guess stuff like
I
that.
just kind of think like offense is like diving maybe, and then like defense is like playing backline, stuff like that. Maybe.
Yeah. That's actually a good way to put it too. Like playing supports like Kepri is more like a defense, and like playing like Kuzenbo is like offense. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Support.
I want to say
mid twice.
I did say mid twice.
Dude, you can't do that.
I know. I actually, dude, I thought about it. I was like, shoot, I want to say mid again, but I already said it. I'm just going to say it anyways. But that's dude, it has to, I think both for me, like shooting guard and small forward, you can mix or like switch between teams too. Cause I'm thinking, of mid, I'm thinking someone like Big Man. Like Big Man is like the ultimate Swiss Army knife player, like of Smite. Like that's like what I think of. Like he'll play hunters, he'll play assassins, he'll even whip out the chalk or the Wukong if he wants. Like, but I think you could argue solo lane as well. But what do you think support actually?
Yeah,
I was gonna say something else, but when you said like jack of all trades, like I feel like there's been support metas where you dive the backline. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's been support metas where you just play backline with your you try to peel, and then like. Small forwards do have a lot of impact, and supports can have a lot of impact on the map. Maybe not so much this meta, but there's been a lot of metas where supports can like impact all over.
I feel like this meta too. I guess that's a good like. There's a lot of different play styles. Like you're seeing like people like Quig this meta. Like he's playing like Baron and Afro every game with like Bao, or I don't know if he had Bao this past week because it just got nerfed, but regardless, he's playing like these mage supports, and then you see people playing. I think did Hurry play Kuzenbo today?
Kuzenbo,
Yeah.
Sobek,
You see Kepri this meta. You see a bunch of different Yamoja. There's so many different style. Ares is back in the meta.
Yeah.
A little bit of Guan Yu and Horus. I guess there isn't anyone like I don't think we've seen a Tyr or Hercules or anything like that. But there's a lot of different things I guess you can do. So I guess that I like that actually.
Yeah. To me, small forward was the hardest role because I was between mid support solo. And it maybe depends on how you see the role. Like, to me, the reason I said mid was I think support and mid lane are like the two roles that I think of where I feel like the style of pick, like solo lane has like different styles of picks, but most metas solo laners are like they're trying to kill people. Like they're either diving or like now maybe people are playing mages, but like we're not seeing like a lot of like healing mages like to protect like your ADC or stuff. Like you're seeing mages that are like trying to slam damage, like that type of thing. So when I think of small forward, I'm thinking of like mid for me. The difference between having like a Baba or a Tiamat or a Merlin who are like playing backline, farming, like trying to like stay safe, just pump out damage. They're really good on like siege defenses. Or you could have a character like the Morgan or a Pele mid that's like diving, or like maybe this is more so like Dardas or something like that because I play with them now. Like you could have a character like a Hera that's also like really good at like crowd controlling stuff, or you could have like
A Bracken.
yeah,
Athena.
we played Fab and Athena mid.
Yeah.
That's definitely a Dardas thing. But yeah, there's like they can play hunters, like they can do a little bit of everything.
That's what I was thinking too when I said mid.
Yeah, they can do anything in any meta. I feel like the only thing they really don't do traditionally is play a tank role. But even then, like, we did it a little bit. I remember, like, Kiki used to do, like, Athena mid and stuff like that.
Whirlwind in season 1 as well.
Yeah, and then I thought about it with... I honestly, like, it was funny you guys said Paul with, like, the let him cook thing, which is, like, definitely true on, like, carrying the game and being a shooting guard. But I also think, like, one of the things that I think makes Paul a really good player that people, like to meme a lot is he will just go defense some
Breastplate
games.
Paul.
Yeah, or Genji's, and he'll do it on, like...
Genji.
He's done it on Hell. He's done it on... There's another god I was thinking of, where he'd play it. But yeah, like Paul's played like Hell or Afro or that type of stuff. And like those are supportive style mages. Like you're facilitating the game with those characters too. So for me, that's why I said mid. But I think a lot of good roles fit that.
Nice. Yeah. That's what I was thinking too. There's a lot of mid players that do play a lot of different things, and that's why I liked the mid selection.
I was thinking about ESET. Like ESET was meta last year, and I remember like I think Paul and Dardas played it a lot, and they would go a lot of like they'd go like binding second item and stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, that's just how I feel.
I think Soul Lane's also one you can argue a lot because there's been like right now people are playing mages like in current SPL. Like we literally saw Morgan Le Fay today do like 50k damage. Like you're not gonna see a Morgan Le Fay do 50k damage and then see a Sobek at the same time going full tank, just being a plucker basically.
Wait, have any
in the same meta?
Have we said every role but solo? I think we have so far, which is kind of interesting because I feel like a lot of people view solo as like the they do everything role.
Yeah, so I should have probably said solo even though I said mid, but mid just feels like it suits it so much more. I don't know why than solo, but mid also, it's hard. I feel like a lot of the roles you can kind of argue for a lot of them.
For sure.
I feel like point guard was easy because pace it's usually just jungle
thing,
and then support sometimes, and then shooting guard I feel like you can make an argument for like 3 different roles for that for sure.
Yeah,
you can even argue jungle for shooting guard. I know we're not talking about jungle anymore, but like there's been some metas, even small forward too, like there's been some metas where the junglers just go crazy late game, like when you played Achilles with like Deathbringer and would one shot people. Like that's like playmaking city basically.
This is like an ancient way the game was played, but like back in like season 2, like when Kenneth was like just montaging people like 20-0 every game, he was just like Humbots, Thor, that type of thing. Like I would say shooting guard for those type of metas because like those guys are just carrying games when they're on that type of stuff.
Yeah, same thing with like Andy as well in season 1, right, with the Thor.
Yeah. Andy, Gars, Kenneth.
Thor Gars, yeah.
Thor Gars was crazy.
All right, so let's go power forward. So power forward's usually the guy who the thing that's hard in Smite, like there's like a lot of the positions, I guess, traditionally used to rely on height, and it still does a little bit, I'd say, like in basketball. But is there like a height equivalent in Smite that there isn't really anything you can compare, right? There's like nothing.
I don't think so.
That's why it's so hard.
Yeah, not really.
Like there's no
mechanical skill.
Yeah,
Is your mechanical skill
it's like your height.
The taller you are, the worse you are mechanically.
No, that's not true. I mean, a little bit, I guess. If you want to argue,
it's a reach, but
I mean, like if you're Wemby, that is not true.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're like AD, that is not true. If you're Jokic, that is not true either. So it just depends, I guess, on the player.
Yeah.
It's so hard though for power forward. But okay, so power forward is basically the person. There's been a lot of different power forwards. Usually they just are the player that they kind of make a lot of plays in the paint. Now there's a lot of stretch fours as well. There's also been some point power forwards like Lamar Odom's like one that comes to mind.
Stretch four means they're like good at shooting, for the record. Like instead of being like inside on the offense, like under the basket, they can like space the floor. They can be a threat, like they call it like a pick and pop on like a pick and roll. You can like instead of driving to the basket, you can like step out to 3 and like shoot, that type of thing.
Yeah, but basically power forward is just the bigger shooting guard for the most part. I feel like they kind of make plays in the inside more, but like nowadays like it's more positionless basketball, I feel like. Cuz like you like back in like the 80s and 90s and stuff and the 70s, I guess, like in basketball, like it would be more traditional. Like the power forward would be the guy who gets the ball down low and makes plays like in the paint and just like in the key and stuff in the inside of the 3-point line, while shooting guard would be more like just inside the, like he play more mid-range, I guess, or play the 3-point. But
I feel like the quintessential power forward is like Tim Duncan that I think of. Like that's the guy that I'm just like, yeah, that's a power forward right there. Like he was really good at everything. Like he wasn't like, back when he played, well, not, he's like still played recently, but like back when he was in his prime, like he could shoot, but it wasn't like a 3-point thing. He was like a good defender, like rim protector. He just kind of did everything.
Yeah. What would you say for power forward? Like, just explain it to the people, just to give them a better idea.
There's just so many different power forwards. I feel like you guys did a pretty good job explaining it,
Yeah, there's a bunch of different styles, I guess. But I guess it's they're more so they're just the playmaker, I guess, like in the paint kind of is how I would look at it more so. All right, for power forward, 3, 2, 1
Solo.
support.
Interesting. 3 different answers. All right, so Nozier, you said ADC, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, why do you say ADC?
I just think power forwards are like pretty consistent in the role, you know what I mean? Like obviously there's exceptions like Giannis or whatever, but most of the time they like play the role and they do it well. They're not going to do anything flashy most of the time, but I feel like it's ADC. You know, like
Yeah, that's
like,
that's
ADC,
pretty
like,
interesting take, yeah.
it's hard to do flashy play unless you get a solo kill, right? Like you're just kind of hitting who's in front of you. You're doing your job. You're hitting objectives. Like most games, the ADC isn't making like crazy plays. I would say.
I think you're winning me over with that take, honestly.
What did you say? You said support.
I said support. The reason I said support is because I feel like you were saying earlier, there's like aggressive and like defensive styles you can play as support, and I feel like it's more like it was like what you were saying for small forward, kind of like I kind of feel like power forward is kind of more streamlined, and it's not doing everything. They just do one thing really well. Like they play like inside defense really well, or they play really aggressive offense like really well. Like in the paint, I feel like diving is like a Kuzenbo is like a power forward dunking on you kind of or something, or like Kepri is like blocking you, something like. Dude, imagine Kepri coming over the top, boom, blocks it.
Face down block.
Blocked by Kepri instead of blocked by James.
Dude, Atlas would block everything. That guy's
Dude, he would actually.
Atlas actually would be owning.
Dude, Jormungandr just comes out of the ground. That would be freaky.
Cthulhu alts. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Nozier and I said opposite side lanes because I kind of had the similar thought of like, I feel like they're really good at one thing. The reason I said solo is because I feel like there's a lot of different things you can play in solo, but I kind of said it earlier, like to me, I feel like all solo laners have always been like really aggressive. Like there was a meta in like season 5 when people were playing like Afro and Chunga, but honestly, even then, like I played with Benji on Chunga and he was really good at it. That guy was diving. Like he was not healing us, he was diving. So yeah, I kind of view power forward as like they kind of do their own thing really well, and I feel like they also have to do like to be a good power forward. I feel like you have to do some things really well, like fundamental things, which I would call like rebounding and setting screens, and that's kind of how I would like my experience of solo lane is like I can't tell a solo laner like how to play their lane better or like how to rotate better. I feel like only solo laners can really like know what feels good for them or how they need to play that. And I feel like there's like a baseline skill you have to be at for the most part. There's like a baseline skill you have to be at to be good in solo lane. I feel like that's kind of how I view it, at least.
Yeah, and solo lane's also just the worst role in the game, right?
Unironically, screw those guys.
No, I'm just kidding. I actually love playing solo lane. It's funny because recently I've been on the solo lane kick like the last couple of years. I always used to be on the jungle kick as like my off-roll go-to and ranked, but I've been the solo lane go-toer.
We've been opposite.
This is fun solo lane meta in ranked right now. If you play solo in ranked right now, you're having fun.
Yeah, I agree with that.
What's your go-to off-roll like the last 2 years, would you say?
Usually mid.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have never guessed
I feel
that.
like
I try to stay out of the duo lane, dude.
You play carry with me all the time though when you queue
Well, if
with
I'm
me.
duo queuing with someone, I'll play carry. But
Dude,
like,
you know why every
Okay,
jungler
that makes
loves
sense.
mid? Every jungler I've played with, like Twig liked mid, Scream liked mid, Sam liked mid, Lasper liked support. He's the only one who's different. But every jungler, they love mid, and I swear it's because they're on the other end of just getting all the farm. Like with junglers, I feel like they hate it when they see their mid laner like, oh, my speed's down, my red's down. You get the whole wave by yourself too. That's okay. You know, that type of thing.
I mean, it is crazy that like green buff is like just known as the mids farm.
It really is.
Like, how did that happen?
I tried to do it. There were times where like we'd be winning like duo clear so hard in like a scrim, and they'd be like, don't go to their purple, like they're coming or something like that. Like 2 people are going to their green to like defend it. I'm like, okay, can we go do our green then? Let's triple clear this. And Darda's like, no. I was like, how does that happen? What do you mean? You're telling me your mid's out rotating you, and I can't get my own green? Like that's crazy.
Dude, that's the worst feeling, especially in ranked. You're literally owning duo lane so hard, and then you're like, "Oh, okay, let's push our lead and go to a purple buff." And then their mid laner shows up, their jungler shows up, and then the worst thing in ranked is when you're owning them in duo lane on the first 2 waves, and then you hear "Be careful left, be careful right, enemies incoming," and you're like, "Okay, cool." So now we just have to lose after we own them.
I hate it, man. I hate it.
It's the worst feeling.
The worst feeling too is like I'll see a jungler and it's like I don't know who like a really bad like level 2 jungler, level 3 jungler is, but I'll just be like, oh, we can disrespect this guy. He's not going to kill us. And then like my ADC, like I see like be careful left, and then I say no problem attack left lane to like my ADC. I'll like ping him, and then like the dude jumps in. I'm like, oh okay, now we're dead. Nice. I just like want to play the 2v3 like slowly. It's criminal.
That's the worst part about playing support though, is having a lane with some random person. They just, dude,
I'm sure
comms would be
ADCs feel
better.
the same way, but it's so tough.
It's just dual lane. Dual lane, you're stuck with someone else's problems the entire game basically. Which is not great. You always say that about jungle, though.
I mean, a mid laner can ruin your early, but as a jungler, you can leave. Yeah, you can leave and never come back.
Like, the thing is support. Like, that's why Hunter is better, too, like, in ranked. Like, I'm not saying the role is better than support. Like, you could argue support could be the best role in ranked, sure. I'm not saying that one role is better than the other, but what I'm saying is, as, like, a jungler or a Hunter player or a mid laner, if someone ruins your game, you can go and split push, and you can actually farm and kill the wave. You're literally a support. You're playing like Fafnir or Khepri. You go you dash the wave, root it. The melees are still alive, and you're attacking it as Khepri, or you're hammering it down as Fafnir, and you literally cannot get XP.
Dude, and the worst thing too is when you're a support from behind, no one wants you in their lane, and the enemy team is gunning you down. Like you're the guy they're looking to kill. Like you are dead on the ground if they find you. Like, it's so sad. It's so sad.
That's why people don't understand, because people are like, dude, support is, dude, it's so broken in ranked. Like, oh my god, it's so good. Sure, it is broken when you get a normal game, but I feel like at least every like 2 out of 3 support games in ranked, you're gonna run into you just getting owned in a certain way and not being able to get like farm or lose lane just because your team is just wrecking you. Or every 1 out of 3 games, I guess. Like every third game is just gonna be like rough.
I want to recap really quick. Do you guys remember what roles you've said for each position?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Just make sure you remember them. I want to like see what everyone said at the end of it. Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so we'll go centers now. Centers are usually the guys. They're like the anchor on defense. A lot of people say they get a lot of rebounds. They're usually the big guy on the court for basketball that's getting rebounds and playing defense the majority of the time. Mm-hmm. You usually don't play through your center a lot unless you're like there's been centers in the past like Shaq that has been like completely dominant, and then Jokic as well. Like Jokic is a complete anomaly compared to like any other center. Like who else? Is there even anyone even close to comparable to Jokic? I don't even think so.
I mean, there's old centers like Bill Walton or Sabonis.
I feel like you'd have to almost argue like,
but it's not. They're not. They can't shoot though. They can't shoot like Jokic.
But like playmaking centers, there's been a couple.
There's like random like adjustments. I feel like the only one close to Jokic is like, I think there was a series where like Magic Johnson did it, or like LeBron's done it, where they like role swap to center for like a series, like for matchups. Like that's the only one even close to Jokic. I feel like he's just on another level.
Yeah. Someone said Embiid in chat, but Embiid's not close to Jokic.
Not like that.
Like
Embiid's really good, but he's not the playmaker.
Yeah. Like Embiid's a good scorer, but like
there's never been a passer from center like Jokic.
It's not even close.
Yeah.
Even like the old guys like Bill Walton and Sabonis, they were really good playmakers, but dude, Jokic's court vision, you could argue, is like the best of like all time.
Top 5.
Like top 5.
Yeah.
All right, so center.
You guys got one of mine?
Yeah. Oh, dude, I need a second. This is hard now. Dude.
I feel like this one's kind of obvious for me.
Really?
Least. Yeah.
All right. Dude, I'm gonna troll this, I feel like. All right, 3, 2, 1. Support.
Really?
Yeah, I want
support for it.
I was between those two. I didn't know which one I wanted to say. Because I feel like it's support. Dude, it's weird because in Smite. Okay, so when I'm gonna go through whenever I explain Smite to someone that has never played a video game before, I'm like, the closest thing that you probably know that's, if you know sports, I'm like, do you know sports? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, do you watch basketball? They're like, yeah. So like there's 5 positions in Smite. Like there are in an NBA game. And each position has their own role. And it's so weird because in Smite, I feel like support, you can argue, is center and point guard. And I think the other thing I always tell people, just imagine basketball, but each person on each team, it's 5v5. Everybody has a basketball in their hands at all time, basically, is what I tell people, like what Smite is. So it's like so everybody can make a play whenever they want in Smite, or like in any MOBA, I guess. So it's like, Okay, why do you say solo? We'll go to solo first.
Well, I just think solo lane. I just think centers have a lot of like invisible impact that people don't notice. Like people, it's kind of easy to make
Like
fun of, but,
totem?
like screen assist. Yeah, but like just like in a center in basketball, like screen assist or like in the pick and roll, like the fundamental play in basketball, like them rolling opens up space for everyone else. You know what I mean? And I do think solo laners have like a lot of invisible impact in Smite, whether it's totem or like if Baskin goes and zones like 2 people, no one's chat like, oh my god, Baskin, but like he's like winning us the fight, right? If he zones 2 people.
Dude, I was literally talking about to Neil yesterday, I think, or I can't remember if it was today or yesterday. He was telling me, dude, it sucks because people don't ever realize like what supports do sometimes. Like they'll zone out 2 people, or soul laners will zone out 2 people, and then they'll be like, oh, this guy wrecked in the fight, but they'll never be like, yo, this guy zoned 2 people to let him do that.
Dude,
basically,
the worst is whenever there's a meta where it's like a blink horrific support meta. Literally getting a 4-man blink horrific is GG fight over. Like unless they reset the fight, it's actually just GG right there half the time.
I do think support's working for this as well. Just like thinking of like invisible impact, because relics are like really important and supports can have huge impact with those.
You know the big thing you said, that is why I said support with it, because I thought the same thing about like invisible impact or like dirty work, that type of thing, like cliche. I think it's just warding is how I view it.
Yeah,
like warding is like the big invisible impact to me, and like everybody in basketball can set a screen, everybody in Smite can ward, but like support's the role that's like dedicated to it, kind of, where like
expected to.
Yeah, you're like you're the only role that I feel like is intended to be entirely selfless, and like every small thing you do is like for your teammates. I think of centers who are like the main screeners, main rim protectors, main rebounders. Every once in a while, you can have like a generational player like a Jokic or a Shaq who can like literally change the game. And my analogy for that would be like you can have invade metas where like they literally had to put Invader's Curse into the game because the supports were taking over and ruining the game. Like you had to change the rules, or like there was something with like a Fenrir or a Circuit or a Herc support. Like if you have Shaq on your team, he can be the carry, you know, like Shaq can carry your team and like run the offense through him. But
Jokic, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Jokic is a better example. But yeah, for like the most part, like you're doing the dirty work, and this is kind of how I view it. I think the only reason I said support for it, honestly, was because I felt like power forward just couldn't be support. Like I just don't think of support as a power forward role personally.
Yeah, because they can't make as many plays as like a soul laner could make, like across the map. I feel like consistently, at least.
Yeah, I feel
across like a lot of metas, like it's usually more soul laners making.
Dude, maybe
plays.
You know how like the analogy with like height to Smite, there's no like real crossover. Maybe like ball handling there kind of is. Like I feel like the better you can handle the ball, the more like individual agency you have. Like that's why I think Jokic is like a little bit of an anomaly. Obviously he's not like a crazy dribbler, but like he can handle the ball like up and down the court and like run an offense through him. And I feel like support's kind of the one where like you do need help. Like I can't dribble, you know, like I just at the end of the day I cannot dribble the ball. Like I'm gonna need some help, fellas. I just can't do it.
Someone to help set you up.
That's
basically.
a good analogy.
Yeah. The other thing I was gonna say why I said support is because I know a lot of people, at least when I was growing up too, when I played basketball, and just I hear it all the time, is like if you're a center, like you're there to play defense and get rebounds, right?
Yeah.
And like if you want to make impact on the offensive end, like you're basically getting no food. Like you're not getting fed at all.
Has to pass it to you.
So you what you do is you make your own food. Like you get offensive rebounds and score yourself. So like support, like you don't get a lot of farm. So like if you want to make plays, you got to get kills yourself to get the farm. Basically, if you're getting assists and stuff and making plays around the map, like you're actually getting farm and like putting yourself in a spot to put yourself.
I'm
in, like,
sure backliners would not appreciate this comment, but also like I think relic usage as support is really, really important. Like getting a good horrific, a good shell, like, you know, using those type of things well is really important. But like I can use my relics literally perfectly in a rank game, and if my carry doesn't press beads or Aegis, there's nothing I can do. Like if I see my carry get plucked and they beads in the air, I'm like, see you later, dude. Like, that's all she wrote. Sorry. Yeah, that's kind of how I view it.
Yeah. All right, so do you want to recap all the ones that we've done? So,
like what I picked for each one?
We could just do it also for point guard. Or I guess we can go one. Do you want to go one by one or?
Yeah, I wanna go one by one.
Okay.
So for me, I put point guard as jungle, shooting guard I think I said ADC, and then small forward I said mid, power forward solo, support center, or center support. I guess I mixed up the order there. Yeah, Nozier kind of won me over with a couple of the arguments on
The power forward one. won
the
me
power
over.
forward one on ADC, and then the shooting guard being mid. I think I'm pretty happy with like point guard being jungle, center being support. Is how I feel.
Yeah.
But like the other three, I feel like you could interchange a lot, and I think it kind of makes sense because like those lanes have all had metas where they're like the best lane to play through, sort of thing. You know, like when there were like the fire imp metas, like when I played with like Benji and stuff, like we were playing through Benji for sure. Like maybe like now there's like a lot of attention on duo because of prop buff and stuff like that. Like, or you could have like the solo farm ADC metas. I don't know. Has mid? I guess maybe I would say season 8 was maybe mid meta where Shinto's just level 20 at 14 minutes, like just going back heartbeat to back heartbeat back and forth. Like
There's also start of season 5 where mid laners were up like 7.
oh
Yeah.
dude, okay.
Paul would axe me and
I
one-shot
remember.
me.
Can I say something?
Yeah,
I remember at a specific moment, I was Camazotz and Paul was Hell. Paul was
Oh, I
level
remember
19.
that.
I was level 13. He held 3 me for 1,200 damage when I was level 13.
That's crazy.
And I'm like, this cannot be real.
And this is before, like, people have more health now too. You have
Way
to
more
realize.
health, yeah.
I was just completely one shot when I was level 13.
Dude, I remember in season 5 at the start of the year, because this was also when season 5 was when they introduced like the 45% pen items, like Obshard and what was the other one, Titan's Bane. It used to scale based off how many procs your opponent had. So like if I built like Thebes, the Obshard is already doing like 45% pen to me. And I would just have a stupid Raijin drum me and I'm just dead instantly. Like the 2-1, I'm just dead.
Some things never change.
Yeah, for real. I can't.
All right, so I'll go over mine. So my point guard, my role is mine's funny.
You
'cause
doubled up.
I doubled twice. So I went jungle for point guard, and then I went mid for shooting guard, and then I went mid for small forward,
You just love mid.
and then I went support, I think, as well for
Oh,
power.
did you
forward.
actually?
Yeah, I went support for power forward, and then I went support for center. So
So basically, you're saying you don't like side laners at all.
I guess so.
Get
But
rid of 'em.
I think for power forward, I think if I were to change one of mine, like for sure, like I would put Hunter in power forward for sure.
Yeah.
That was a
that
really
won me
good
over a
take.
good bit too. Yeah.
I feel like, but I think I'm happy with center support. I feel like for me, like shooting guard and small forward, you could argue that could be mid or Hunter dueling.
Yeah, I think if I was doing,
carry.
I feel like if I was like reordering it, I agree with like putting ADC to power forward, and then I guess it would be solo small forward is how I would see it, like solo small forward and then mid as shooting guard sort of thing. But I'm not sure. They're so interchangeable.
You know, it's funny to think like usually like power forward and center play like under the rim together. That's like dueling, and then you have like shooting guard
Oh,
and point guard. You have shooting
Yeah.
guard and point guard. They play on the perimeter, which is like the jungler and the mid laner, and then you have the small forward who's maybe like the soul laner. Maybe that's how I would look at it as well. Actually,
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I feel like nobody. Honestly, I've never heard, because this is like a Twitch chat question as well. Like people would say for fun sometimes. I've never heard anyone say ADC before Nozier said it on power forward, but it does make a lot of sense to me.
yeah, I like that a lot actually too. Or so, what were yours again?
I said jungle for point guard. I said mid for shooting guard. I said support for small forward. I said ADC for power forward, and then solo for center. If I could rearrange it, I would probably switch support and solo lane, because what you said, like small forward, you can go get your own bucket. You know what I mean? But like if you're
Yeah.
center, if nobody passes you the ball, you're not scoring. Like maybe unless you get an offensive rebound. Like
Yeah.
I just think of all the quotes from centers in the NBA. They're like, "Hey, I was open. They didn't pass me the ball."
Yeah.
And that's
That's
support.
what's his name on the
Rudy.
Timber. Yeah, Rudy Gobert. He loves saying that right now.
Yeah. So I think I would switch it if I could. So yeah.
Yeah.
I basically what Mike said.
You know what else wins me over with the order that he said is I said like the reason I put mid as small forward was because I think like they've had a lot of metas where, like I said, like you can play full back line, you could play like Mori or Assassins or stuff like that. shooting guards also, like, sometimes you just get like a Tony Allen, and maybe Dardez is Tony Allen. He's just playing Cabrakan and Athena.
He's just stopping everybody in their tracks.
He's just making everyone else have less fun. Like when I see Paul on Hell and I see second item Genji's, I'm like, cool, I'm not killing that guy. So he's just stopping everyone else's fun. So you do have shooting guards who are like that. So that's what I think wins me over with it. I would change that too.
Yeah, Tony Allen's one of my favorite players of all time. I love that guy.
Yeah. Dude, that old like the grit and grind like Grizzlies team, I loved that team.
Dude, that team was. I love everybody. What was it? Randolph.
Yeah,
I loved
Zebo.
him. Zebo, Gasol.
That team was stacked. Rudy Gay was also like underrated. He was averaging like 23 points per game. He was pretty good.
He was so good.
Yeah.
It's crazy. He played last year in the NBA. I think
He
still.
just got cut by the Warriors.
Yeah. He played last. Dude, I was like, wait, Rudy Gay still plays in the
Was
NBA?
he on the Spurs? He was in the Spurs a couple years ago. I don't
remember who he played. He didn't get a lot of minutes
He
last
was
year.
on the Jazz randomly at one
He
point
got
too.
traded somewhere.
Mm.
He was on the Jazz and he got traded when they rebuilt.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember who they. I don't remember.
It's crazy to think he'll be a player that was like really good for his entire career, had a long career, and no one's gonna remember him.
Yeah, it's
which
sad.
sucks.
It really
like,
does,
it's
yeah.
actually crazy
The
to think.
Oswald of the NBA.
Dude,
you can't do that to Walter.
Moswell won a Worlds though, so people kind of remember Moswell. I feel like.
But nobody talks about Oswald anymore.
Oh
Honestly,
my god.
People do talk about Moswell, and it's because Moswell.
Isn't it every Twitch?
He's in every Twitch chat. That guy loves it, man.
Dude, I always say if Scream streams, Moswell's there, dude. It's like the bat. Scream should get an emote that it's like the bat signal with like Moswell's face on it. So when he turns that stream on, everybody can spam it.
Dude, I love having people's streams open. I have like a bunch of different like tabs or something. I'll just like see what people are up to.
Yeah.
And without like fail, every single day I watch a Twitch stream, Moswell will come in and like 90% of the time, his first comment is, "You are so dumb." And it's either at the streamer or he's adding like Cyno or someone else in Twitch chat. He's like, "You are so dumb." That's all he says.
He loves doing that, dude.
Yeah.
That's the best way to watch streams, in my opinion. I like doing that too. Like I have like 4 streams open, and I'll just flip between them because there's always something going on if you watch like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
I remember. Wait, did you have something?
No, go ahead.
I was gonna ask if there was a player, like, because I had thought about it when I had said like, "Oh, Tim Duncan to me is like the quintessential like power forward." Is there a Smite player that you think like fits the role perfectly? Because like for me, I put Solane as power forward, and I would just put like Benji as that player. Like the way I described it, I would put like Benji, for example. So I wondered like, did
for
you guys
each
think,
role you want to go through?
yeah, like
players?
did you think of a specific player that you like? But it doesn't have to be the best player. Like I'm not saying who you think like the best ADC, the best support, whatever it is. Like what player you think like fits that archetype the best? You know, like someone who sets the pace as jungle. Like who do you think of for that? I have an answer if you guys just want me to.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would say Twig. I'd say like throughout his career, like there'd be times where like people think he's stinking it up or people think he's like playing really well, but he's always setting the pace, like no matter what.
I feel like Cyno's a good pace setter too. Same thing with DJ as well. Like
honestly,
those
a lot of the NA junglers, him, DJ, Scream
as well.
I think even Mask, when Mask was playing, like a lot of the NA boys just know how to get in there. That's the thing.
They set the pace for sure.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Lasber. I feel like he always gets involved early game.
Last is good for that too. Yeah.
Yeah, Laz is like a anomaly. Like he doesn't like mid. He wants to be a support, and then he's also more like he actually
he's the
like
non-EU jungler.
Yeah, he's
He
the
really
non-EU
is,
EU jungler.
Yeah.
So is Twig though. Twig is like the NA, like he's like the EU imposter jungler or something.
It's kind of funny because Twig, like the way Twig talks about jungle, he's almost like a support player because he's always played on teams that like I think the Kings are like have been a good late game team historically. Like those old Obey teams were pretty good late game as well. But Twig's still gunning it early game. He's like the only guy on the team who's like making plays early. I think it's always been like an interesting point throughout his career that he's that way.
For shooting guard, if it's for mid laner, I would definitely think like Paul for sure.
Yeah.
Who's like the most let him cook SPL player of all time?
Hagon.
Maybe.
Daniel's up there for sure.
Hagon has got to be up there, dude. He cooks when he wants to, even if people tell him not to.
Honestly, you know,
he's gonna cook one way or the other.
You know who Daniel is? Daniel's the Dion Waiters. Like, I'd rather go 0 for 13 than 0 for 5 or whatever it is.
Because that means you stop trying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's who Daniel is in my mind.
I respect that so much, though. I love that.
Dude, there's got to be EU. I feel like there were a lot of really good EU mid laners. Like I think like Big Man's a pretty good example for it.
If I would put Big Man, like if we're talking about mids for small forward, Big Man all the way for me.
Okay, but you're saying for shooting guard.
For shooting guard, yeah, for Paul, yeah.
Yeah, but it probably is just Paul. I feel like Paul's like, everyone likes to talk about Paul like as a late game carry, but I still think like, I know I've talked about this before on the podcast, but like to me it was like way early in his career, but like when Paul really impressed me was like when he went from dual player to like you could see it switch in his brains like, oh, this is how I can like play Conquest, and then like he figured out how to like use what he was good at in like a team setting, and I was kind of sold on like, yeah, like that guy knows what's up. You can let him do his thing.
Dude, someone said Saw. Dude, that's perfect for if you're picking a soul laner for shooting guard.
Yeah,
Let's do that. Let's do all the roles for each position.
Okay. So
Yeah.
do you want to go back to? Can we go back to point guard for support then?
Yeah. So
Setting pace, I would put you.
I would put you.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, I would say
Or Neil, I guess, as well.
Neil's a good one.
Yeah.
The reason I said you is because I think historically, like in any meta, you'll like find something that like lets you do that no matter what. Is kind of why I said you.
I'm just thinking like you or Neil, just because you guys were the best at the invade meta, like. So you guys always knew how to set the pace.
No disrespect, it's for sure in NA support for the whole like set the pace thing.
Yeah. Well, no bias, of course, right?
Yeah, of course, no bias. Yeah.
What about for
ADC?
On
Barra.
On point guard?
Yeah. Barra, maybe?
For set the pace?
Or set the pace,
For
I
set
guess.
the pace, it's Panda Cat and ranked for sure.
Or it might just be Panic Cat in general, I guess.
For setting the pace?
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking Zap maybe.
Zap.
Ooh, Zap's a
Zap
really
is a good one.
Nah, I like
Like he always
Zap.
gets involved. I feel like somehow.
He's also really good at like orchestrating his team a little bit, I feel like when he wants to do stuff. Okay, this is maybe an underrated take for it. I think you could argue it for Royd a little bit. Like I think ever since like season 8 on the Kings until now, I think Royd's been like
Guns it from the start.
well, not even the laning phase, but like he's a really active like rotator as well. Like Royd really like moves around the map and does stuff for sure.
A lot of people are saying Young Zap, P-Cat, Young Zap, Bronny. Dude, for soul lane, Divios is a good one, I feel like, for setting the pace.
Point guard, yeah.
Yeah. That is he definitely would set the pace some games, for sure.
Mid point guard, by the way, it's the easiest thing ever. It's just Twig. And if you don't if you don't want to count Twig, I'll think about it.
Dardes as well, though. I feel like you could argue
a good one, yeah.
Like Dardes has played like he literally played Erlang the other week. Like that if you want the pace getting set, like that's one way to do it.
I think we played Erlang twice in the SPL and we're 2-0 on it. So
against
yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like if you want to get the pace started, that's one way to do it.
Dude, Dardes he is so dumb, man. That guy, if I talk to him about picks, like another team plays like, this guy will be like, what do you think about it? He'll be like, yeah, it's good, but I can't. I'm like, what do you mean I can't? He's like, I'm going to get bored if I play that. I got to get in there. And he's like, guys, just let me play Erlang mid. I'm like, that's exactly what I want from my mid laner.
I think Twig's a really good one, too. Because
so easy, yeah.
He was just an imposter in mid, dude. He was just a jungler in disguise. That's literally what Twig was. Is there any other mid laners or no? I'm trying to think of another.
Baskin was a little bit on SSG.
True, like
Baskin, he would play some like
Apollo mid and go just start ulting to every lane.
He tried some like warriors and assassins back then. I don't know.
That is a good one too. The best was definitely. I wouldn't think he didn't really set the pace, but he was a sniper.
I would think best for a shooting guard, man.
Yeah, he's like Steph Curry downtown range every single time with raw snipe. That's what I think of with best.
Dude, one of my favorite scrim experiences is when I first started playing with best. I Neja ulted someone like across the map from best, and he just Giannis ulted him. Like I timed it perfectly.
He didn't even like. Did you like?
Well, I'm just saying like I'm Neja ulting this guy. I didn't even think he was gonna Giannis ult him, and then he lands and he gets Giannis ulted and he dies. I'm like, what the heck?
That's sick.
Yeah, that guy is crazy when it comes to like any snipe ability, like Thoth ult, raw ult, like any dude. I know that like it sucks that he's like I wish that we were able to win season 3 because I feel like he would have gone down as like the best sniper player of all time because that's what I think of. But I'm biased because I play with him, of course. But like Dude, there's no one better at raw sniping I've ever seen in my life, or just the raw 1-4 combo on people.
I got to
was
play like
insane.
literally 3 scrims with him in like a tryout session on United, and he just played raw in like 1 or 2 of the games, and I was just like blown away. Like he wouldn't even calm the stuff half the time, and he would just snipe everybody and kill him. Like, okay, I guess we won. Like it's just crazy. The
It
feeling
was
of that guy.
insane.
Deathwalker is a good one for solo for like.
Ooh,
set the
I like
pace.
Yeah, I like that a lot
Maybe
as
I
well.
like Deathwalker and Divios the most. Then I
Yeah.
can see that.
That Deathwalker is dude. The what they call the Ares Walker. What do they call it? What was it called?
I have no idea.
I forgot what they
Ares
called
Walker
it.
sounds right to me, but I don't know.
That was dude. That was so sick when he whipped that out.
Has there been another solo laner to set the pace like that? Like Baskin, like, okay, Baskin's weird because I feel like Baskin can, but it's a more of like, when I say selfish way, I don't mean like he's not a team player, but like I think of like
Vamana, like when he's running around the map, like
Yeah.
taking back camps
he's
on
like
cooldown
telling you
and
like when he's
stuff.
strong and when he wants to rotate. That's
Yeah.
like he's really good at like knowing how to like set up a game plan, but it's not like, yeah, it's not in that way. I feel like
Cyclone season 2 is, I guess, as well, but like Cyclone's more of like a shooting
that
guard
guy's
season
shooting
2.
guard solo.
Yeah, but so okay, so let's go over it again. So for point guard for support, we had me, you, or Neil.
Mm-hmm.
For shooting guard, we had, or for point guard for. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. So for point guard for support, we had me, you, or Neil. For point guard for mid, we had like Dardas, Twig, and then did we say anyone else for mid? Maybe Baskin.
Maybe Baskin, but I like the other two more. Yeah.
Dardas, Twig. For point guard for
ADC.
Hunter, we said like Panda Cat,
Zap.
Netroid.
Yeah. And then for jungle, it's pretty much like Twig or any good NA jungler.
Yeah. And Lasbra.
Yeah, and Lastra. Yeah.
And then
Solane.
Divios and Deathwalker.
Yeah, I think
Deathwalker
just
literally
there.
fits that to a T, I feel like. Same with Divios.
Yeah.
So good.
For sure. All right, so so are we all, the order that Nojer had said, is that what, like, as a collective, are we sold on that, where it's like jungle point guard, shooting guard mid, soul lane power forward, and then it was ADC, or soul lane small forward, ADC power forward, support center? Is that how we see it? Is that like our collective thing?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, so that we should start with the role. So for shooting guard, if we said mid, I think we had said a little bit, it would be like Paul, maybe.
Yeah.
Who else would you think on that?
Aegon.
Shinto, Pagon.
Aeon, Shinto, yeah.
Who else?
Older players, I kind of think of like Stealth
Yaman.
a little bit. Stealth, Yaman,
Best.
Best, yeah. Those type of
Yeah.
guys.
So what about for Hunter for shooting
Hunter
guard?
shooting guards.
Cyclone, like back in season
Cyclone
6.
for sure. Cyclone for sure.
Like when you could play whatever you wanted to and just like he's just playing Anubis and he's just alting people over the wall or just playing like
Yeah.
Hades, just anything going crazy.
Who else was like a player like that where you just like is shooting guard?
Playmaker.
Yeah, shooting guard's just like the let
Arc-
'em cook playmaker type of thing.
I guess you could say like Arkeel as well, like on her and Uller. Back
Oh,
in, like,
you know who? Snoopy.
Oh,
Snoopy
yeah.
way back in the day.
Rama.
Like Vulcan,
Vulcan.
Rama.
Yeah,
Merc, all
Vulcan.
that, yeah.
That's actually true.
Maybe it was like the original set ADC as well.
He was, yeah.
Yeah.
He soloed in your guys' set.
Solo. We played 2 sets against them, dude. It was like PTSD. We lost to them. We lost to the SCC team, and then Snoopy's on an SPL team. We're literally in picks and bans. We see a set where like that can go ADC, and Kenny's like, "Yeah, get me Kronos here." And all 4 of us collectively at the same time, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "Yeah, it'll be good." Instantly first blooded, like level 3. Unlucky.
Oh my god.
What are you gonna do?
Oh, you know who we missed for pacemaker for point guard is Emilito.
Oh,
I want to go
Emil's a
back.
Really good
Dude,
one.
Emilito is the best
How
hunter
did we
at setting the
forget Emil?
pace.
That's crazy.
Dude, that guy will gut it down and he will make things happen on his side of the map and everything will revolve around dual lane like when he played. That guy actually set the pace.
Yeah, Emil's perfect for that.
Yeah. All right, sorry. I just thought of that. I had to go back and add that.
No, it's good.
All right, so we got so we have for shooting guard we have like Paul, Big Man, Shinto, Best, Yaman for
Yeah.
that. We said one other one. I forget who.
And then for ADC shooting guards, it was Cyclone, maybe Snoopy. I think you mentioned Panda. I don't know.
Maybe Panda as well for that.
Panda's like I view Panda and Shinto pretty similarly.
Is there anybody who of Coast styles on people all the time? Yark as well.
Yarkor is a really good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I like Yarkor. I kind of like Yarkor, Cyclone, and Snoopy the most, just because of like how flexible they are with it.
Yeah, I like those two. So and then for solo lane for shooting guard, Sot, hands down. I don't even think anyone's close.
Okay.
Like Sot's in his own category. It's not even close in my opinion.
I'm so glad you went to solo lane right after, because I'm gonna put this guy for 2 roles. Cyclone's there for solo too.
That's fair.
Maybe not as extreme as Sot.
I think Sot is in a different level though.
Yeah.
Like dude, Sot is the biggest playmaker in Soul Lane that there's ever existed.
He for sure is, but the stuff I've seen Cyclone do in scrims in Soul Lane is like insane. And then like it just Sot's done it for longer, so it has to be Sot as like the number 1 option for it. But like Cyclone for sure, like those like AFK NV days, like he was so crazy with the random stuff he was doing. Like the Baka, Ao Kwang solos, Uller, all that type of thing.
I think you could also make an argument for Deathwalker 2 in this category for Soul Lane, but dude,
I think
Sot, it's not even close, bro. With Sot though, I feel like
I think Fino is kind of in the discussion as well.
Yeah.
I think Alex for sure more traditional than Sot, but like I mean even like today Alex played like Anubis solo and stuff like that. Like we played Cat solo on Rival. Like he's done a lot of like wacky things too.
If this was like a tier list where we're slotting people into like certain tiers, Sot would be like 3 tier levels above everybody else. So I feel like that's actually crazy. But like because there's never been a solo laner that is literally just picking Uller and running it and like making plays and like doing in like the tier games he's had and just all these characters he's played. Like this year, like look at the guy he's played Ebo and like all this like crazy stuff that nobody else was playing.
Picking like the Morgan is like a James Harden ISO, dude. It's like
it really
just
is.
let him cook.
Dude, you guys remember who else used to play Mori solo? You remember Kiki used to do it?
Yeah,
Kiki loved it.
Kiki's another good one too, actually. But still, you can't.
Yeah,
no one can match Sot. But Cyclone for sure is probably the closest, I would say. Like back in his season 2 days, like okay, so for support, I think Iraffer for shooting guard. Like he gets in there and he's making plays. Like he's literally like running it down, like getting in there as Geb, baiting everybody in and just hitting an ult and like getting out with 1 health. Like he's in there alone, like 1v5.
So what's the description you're using for shooting guard?
Like just like making a play, like an ISO play, basically.
Okay, so ISO.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like first, because there's not really a lot of ISO plays to support.
Yeah, Raffer is really good for that.
Because I'm just imagining him as like running in his Kepri like 1v5 while like his like Emilito's split pushing and he's like running the team around the map basically, or like he goes to back camps and everybody on the other team runs to him.
Dude, okay, I have a couple weird ones for this. If you're like considering other supports for the ISO, I'd put Frezzy in there. That guy was also gunning it. He was really gunning it.
I like that.
And then this one's maybe a little weird, and I don't know. It depends on your definition. What chat say?
Trix Tank. That's a really
Trix
good
is
one.
a really good one.
Trix is an insanely good one. Like getting in there and like dude, the first at launch tournament, Guan horsing in, stunning them, and then stealing Fire Giant with Hog back then. That was a sick ISO play as a support that you can do.
Actually, I really like Trix a lot for it. Yeah.
Yeah, Trix is perfect. I feel like that is so good.
Do you have anyone for these, Nozier?
You have no ISO supports? Yeah, of course you don't. Yeah, I think Trix for sure.
I mean, genetics maybe. I don't know.
Oh, that's dude with his walls, like just the walls.
Jin's a good one. Yeah,
that is a good one.
Jungle's the easiest for a shooting guard ever. By the way, I feel like it's so easy. It's got to just be Kenneth.
Yeah, adapting. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too.
If it's not Kenneth, it's Andy or Garz.
Andy, Garz, Kenneth. Yeah.
The most modern day player,
Oath,
who's not those, is Oath.
Yeah. I think that's fair. But yeah, those
maybe Sam. Okay, Sam for soccer he's actually like. This is going to sound like a slight to the rest of them, but Sam gets too involved early game, I feel like, to be the shooting guard, like ISO guy, but I do think of, like, Sam's God pool, I think of, like, Thor, Hambatsu, Cyno, and all those characters are kind of like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. He was a big... he liked to go to the Thanatos, I remember, like, season 8, or was it season 9?
He played it a little bit 7 and 8.
7 and 8, yeah.
First ever triple-double.
Yeah. We lost that game. Unlucky.
Unlucky.
Yeah.
I remember that actually.
Didn't someone got a triple double this year? I'm pretty sure.
I think you're right. Wasn't it recent?
It was. Yeah. Who got it, man?
I don't remember. Does anyone in chat know?
Was it a kickoff game? Dude, I swear someone got a triple double. Oh, that's gonna drive me crazy. I'll think of it like in 2 hours or something. But yeah.
All right. So for small forward,
We said
Like jack of all trades.
solo lane for small forward, right? Should say
yeah.
player.
So you said Benji, right, for that?
for jack of. I would have said him for power.
Oh,
forward.
for power forward. Okay, yeah, my bad.
No, you're good. You're good. What would you think for a small forward, jack of all trades?
For mid, I was saying big man. Big man is
Man is,
literally
like, the perfect,
fits that perfectly for mid. I think there's no one close to big man either
I'd
in
say
that category.
Moswell as well, kind of.
Yeah, I guess Moswell. Moswell's close, but I think big man plays more hunters than.
Where would you guys put like
Oswald.
Dardas on that? Because I think Dardas is pretty
Dardas.
jack of all trades.
Yeah,
Maybe
Darda's up
Dardas is
there.
more on the point guard side than the small forward side.
Yeah, I think he's more point guard
I can
side
see
too.
that. Yeah.
Because I think big man's more of like like playmaking on like all those characters more so than like setting the pace kind of.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
What about for hunter players that are kind of jack of all trade players? I'd say Cyclone as well for that one as well, and Jark.
Yeah.
Jark and
Yark is
Cyclone.
a perfect one.
Yark is good. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's anyone close to those two for that. What about for
Zap has played like a lot of different stuff in SBL.
that is true too.
He has, but I'm not. No flame. It has not gone great for him.
Dude, I was rewatching Worlds games like a while ago, and he was like playing ESET and stuff.
and Raijin.
Yeah.
When?
It was one of the Worlds.
He lost.
Was that
to
against
Vic
Renegades?
Ago.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
But I was like that. I just like did not remember him ever doing that.
Yeah.
Ven's another good one. Someone said in chat actually for that because
Oh, for
Ven.
mid, I like
yeah,
Ven a lot.
Ven,
actually.
yeah. Okay, that's what I would say. Like, who did we say? We
You
said
said big man.
Big Man, and who else? Who was the other one we said after Big Man? We said someone else. I forget. But I think Big Man.
I,
No, there was another
I was
one.
asking if Dardas was point guard because I couldn't remember.
I think Big Man and Ven fit it the best
Yeah.
for mid.
I was thinking then for a different one.
For a different one.
Yeah.
I think for Jack all
Oh,
trade.
I think I know what you're talking about, but yeah,
Because I think Ven like plays like hunters, assassins, mages. Like he does it all kind of, and
does,
tanks.
yeah.
So at least when I played with him.
for sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
Jungler small forward.
I guess kind of you as well.
Yeah. I don't
You kind you
I'd say you or Sprack. Yeah.
Cause yeah,
That's a good
Scream
one.
as well too. I'm trying. Lasbrook kind of too, cause he kind of does like he like plays like the Athena jungle, and then he can go and play like a carry style jungler as well.
I feel like it's weird. Like, I don't know if this makes sense. Like, Lass as a player, I think is that way, but because he hasn't played as long as the other two, like the body of work doesn't show it as
Yeah.
much as like he can do it. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
I think Scream's a good one as well because he has played like tank style, and
I
he
did
can
play
also,
Geb today.
yeah.
Yeah. And he can also like Scream plays tanks, and he also plays like full damage.
Yeah, and he also he'll do like wacky stuff too. Like he'll split push his like Bastet and Baka and random stuff over the years.
Yeah, Scream. I think Scream's the best actually. Thinking about it, because he also plays like he's played way more mages. I feel like than you have
Honestly,
in the jungle as well.
We didn't bring Nozier up for shooting guard, but because it was like the ISO thing, but if the shooting guard description isn't ISO and it's let him cook, it's actually him. It's Nozier for sure.
And Scream too.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Yeah, it's probably Scream for like Jack Ultra, and then you would definitely come up like there as well. Is there any other junglers that kind of do it all? I'm trying to think who
Ice
else.
Ice Baby was kind of like that.
Ice. That's true. Because that whole team like
They
kind of
were,
was like
yeah.
the let him cook like team.
They really were.
Oh,
Oh.
Panatome! How are we forgetting Panatome? Panatome is definitely
Yeah,
Jack of all trades too.
Really? I think of Penny more as like the shooting guard one a little bit.
I feel like Panny can play tanks though, but not as much as like Scream or
Yeah.
Cyno. But
Like I
like,
said, Gilgamesh, like he was.
Oh,
Yeah.
the
that's
best
true.
Gilgamesh.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
yeah,
Penny's a good one.
I think Panny's.
I
good.
forgot about the whole season 8 meta. That's
Yeah.
good for sure.
Yeah, I mean he's like Lasbar. He hasn't played as long, but I think he'd be fit
You know
that
who
well.
I wanted to say for shooting guard on support was Emilzy as well. I forgot about it a little bit, but
yeah.
Emilzy was kind of like that a little bit where he would just like it wasn't as I mean it's hard to say a support like ISOs, but I kind of saw it as like the thing you said with Raffer a little bit, but the opposite. Like he would just do really unique things back then. He'd like Ama and he stole the hell from you, but yeah.
Somebody in chat said Homie FA, but I would say more he was like shooting guard.
Yeah, Homie was a good one for shooting guard. I forgot about
Yeah.
Homie. Homie's good.
Yeah, homie didn't really play a lot of tanks. I feel like from what I
Homie was
remember.
such a good like Ao Kwang and Thor player and stuff like that. He was really good at those things.
Yeah. And then which role are we missing for?
We did.
So
I think we still need to
mid?
do support and solo.
Yes, support. Yeah.
Solo, we said.
Oh, did we say someone for solo?
Did we? I thought we did solo for
Maybe not.
shooting guard.
Yeah,
We
maybe
need
didn't.
for support. Who's kind of a jack of all trades? I guess I would like you and I don't know.
Jack of all trades is tough because like I think the two of us can kind of fit it just because like
Yeah,
We've played for so
we played
long,
a lot
we've
of
played
gods and
everything, yeah.
styles. Rongyu, I guess as well. I feel like he's played a lot of different styles.
Ronnie
too.
has for sure. Yeah, Ronnie's in there.
Um,
The problem I have with support is I feel like it's like the combo of playing like the dive characters along with the backline characters. There's not many players.
dude, shooting guard. We forgot awesome Jake for shooting guard.
Okay, Jake is
Dude,
so good.
that okay, he wins, dude. Whoever said that
Yeah.
in chat for shooting guard,
That's good.
yeah, dude, that is actually Jake.
Jake
by the
actually
way,
is
oh,
ISO
it's Billy.
support.
It's Billy. Billy said it. Yeah, dude.
Jake
yeah.
is ISO support. for
100% hands down. It has to be Jake
That's so
for shooting
good.
guard. Yeah, easily. I can't believe I forgot about Jake. That is actually the best shooting guard.
sure. Wait, who are other dude? Jack of all trades support is so tough. I feel like it's weird because like between the two of us, I feel like I play mages maybe a little more than you do.
Yeah,
But I feel like you've been more successful on like warriors and stuff than I have.
I mean it's hard to say though because like you were successful on warriors more than me in like season
I was successful
7.
on one warrior. I was good at one warrior only.
And then I've had a couple good mage stints, and then
For sure.
it's definitely hard though.
Yeah. I feel like support's almost like it's kind of like meta dictated more than like personal play style. Like whose play style is really like because I feel like the reason I'm hesitant to put like one of us, for example, maybe it is wrong you. Like the reason I'm hesitant to put you or me is because I feel like we fit the like we go back and forth between like point guard center, I feel like a little bit.
Yeah.
Whereas like I feel like both of us like think about the game and are pretty opinionated on like, oh, we can do this and like this meta or whatever. And when I think of like small forward being the jack of all trades, I think of it being like more relaxed, like I can do whatever the team wants me to do, like whatever they need, I can do it. Sort of.
I could see Rongyu fitting that probably there because like I feel like it can't be like a support from like the older generation of Smite because it was more like it was more traditional back then.
Yeah,
like because
exactly.
support would do like one thing, like Jeff and like Raffer and those guys like were more like a traditional support. Like nowadays
Yeah.
it's like it feels like supports do a little like do more kind of
Honestly,
in terms of like
it's weird to
map.
say it because I don't think he's shown the other style as much. But where would you put Quig? Because I almost think about Quig with us a little bit. Like
I mean Quig I think Quig's a good one, but it's just like you said there just hasn't been a lot of
he's
there
just
isn't
only
a big
played
body
one
of
year
work.
in the SPL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see Quig for
I
sure
think
though,
awesome Jake for this one.
as well.
Yeah.
I could see Jake for
'Cause
that.
I've seen like Jake like it's not meta dependent. Like he'll play like
Tier and
play
every,
like tier and
That's actually
ox
good,
and
too.
afro. Like he plays a lot of different play styles. I feel like.
Yeah, I could see Jake.
I think Jake's really good too for this one. Yeah, I don't know if it's probably like Rongyu or Jake if you have to go long term player. Like is what I think at least. If you're not saying you or me, because like you think genetics is more of like the Waller / like setting up his
I view
back
Genetics as
line.
more like the center type of.
Yeah.
It's weird because like I kind of like no bias. I just think you and I have played. I mean, we've played collectively like what 19 years or something of the SPL. Like we're gonna fit all of them kind of. We've just been around too long.
Yeah, it's like kind of unfair to put us for some of them. I
Yeah,
feel
we're just
like.
too old.
I probably okay. What would you guys go with for like the number one spot? Rongyu or Jake?
I'd go Jake.
You go
I'd
Jake?
go Ronnie only because I like Jake so much for shooting guard. Yeah.
I just think, yeah, I just think you have to think about it like people who do it like willingly, and not just because it's like the meta. You know what I mean? Like
I guess if you put it like that, I would put Jake as well.
Yeah.
To be fair,
And who would you put for shooting guard? Who else did we say?
we said you
I
said
mean, to be fair, it doesn't
Emilzy.
matter because we've said Hardcore and Cyclone for so many on 82.
Yeah.
I guess this is how it goes.
I think you would just put Jake for both, honestly.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you have to, because Jake fits both of them so
He really
well.
does,
Dude,
yeah.
dude, it's actually crazy that team, that Oni Warriors team with Jake, Sot,
They were actually playing
Pagon,
positionless
they were
basketball.
literally ISO personified, like at the beginning
Yeah.
of the year. Like that's why, like I remember people are like they always took like these like uneven fights because they're like ISO time. That's why.
When we first started scrimming them, it literally felt like we were just fighting across the map 24/7 because they're all just ISOing on us the entire game.
It was actually crazy. That team was actually, they're like, let me cook every single one of them. Oh my god.
Yeah, the first time we scrimmed them, I was like almost shocked because I was like, I can't tell if they're trolling or not. And then but on the second block, I'm like, oh, this is actually how they play. That's kind of cool.
I remember that's what when he's like, dude, they're not trolling. That's how they play. That's like his favorite line to say whenever we play against the Warriors. Like Paul's like, are they trolling? And when he's like, no, that's how they play. It's the Warriors.
Yeah.
But yeah, probably I would say Jake as well.
Is there a role we missed for small forward? So we just said
solo,
Jake for
I think.
Oh, is it solo? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd put Alec for that. Or
That's a good one.
I think a fine okay, like jack of all trades.
Fine okay or Deathwalker.
I don't think of Deathwalker with the carry stuff as much as my thing with him.
That's actually you're right. That's true. I would eliminate him there. I mean, Cyclone
Maybe
as well. Cyclone and Yark.
Yeah, I feel like Hark was more of a tank player though.
And Sot
played.
You could even argue Sop for this.
What about
one.
like where the heck does Nika go? Like if there's no fraud position and you're only going off NBA positions, like maybe Nika's a small forward. Like from my experience playing with them, I think the two of Nika and Fine OK are very similar, but it's like I
would put Nika maybe with the power forward. Like he's just like a very consistent player in his role. I feel like.
Yeah, I think I like Alec the most for small forward either way, honestly.
I think Fanoke's played more stuff maybe than Nika.
He for sure has.
I think he fits that like jack of all trades perfectly. Fanoke because he's even played the Hunters as well. Like when people were going to that meta, like because that's why I was saying you should put Sot there as well because I feel like Stot's played everything across the board.
Yeah, they played like all 5 roles.
But Fanoke's maybe played some of them more consistently.
I'd put Baskin in for small forward too. Baskin fits a lot of this stuff.
Ooh, that's true. It's probably between Final K and Baskin at the top, actually.
Yeah, I like Sot too much for shooting guard, I think.
You could maybe argue Variety as well because he did play. The only thing
Variety's a big man, bro. Variety's a big man.
Variety doesn't play Hunters, though. That's the thing. Like, he played, like, the Assassins, the Mages, the Warriors, and the Guardians. But he's just... The Hunters, he tried, and it did not go well for him. You have to think of the player. They have to be able to play all 5 classes, well. That's what makes him the jack of all trades.
The thing I was going to say, too, with Variety, when I think of Variety on, like, an Assassin, I think of him playing, like, something like Rat, where you're, like, still a tank. Or, like, when I think of him playing a Mage, I think of him playing, like... I think he the one who played, like, a lot of Hell in Season 8?
Yeah, he played Hell, yeah.
Like, he's still playing a tank, but he's playing, like, a tank utility Mage, you know? Like, he did that with Afro as well. Like, you're not seeing him... Like, Baron is another, like, classic Variety
Oh, yeah,
pick.
Baron is literally... That's what I think of when I think of Variety is Baron.
The reason, like, when I think of, like, Alec for Jack of all trades or Baskin, like, when they play a carry, they're, like, playing a carry. And I feel like... When Variety plays a Mage, he's playing a Mage, but he's doing it in a way where he's like, I can still fit my role on the team.
Yeah, sort of yeah, that's the best way to put it. Yeah, it's definitely Baskin or Final K for sure.
Yeah. All right, moving on to power forward. We put ADC as the power forward role, right?
Yeah.
Where you're just... And what was the description you said?
I just said, like... People like consistently doing their role well. Like
you basically said there's not like a lot of flashiness. That's what I think is true for Hunter.
I feel like that description just fits like Zap and Barra.
Zap. I feel like Zap more so than Barra.
Zap for sure.
Yeah, Zap is the king for sure. Like of that.
Consistently making an impact.
Yeah. I think Zap wins that one. And then
do any power forwards hard into your game? Because you do have to mention that part of Zap too.
That is true.
When you're talking about like scrims and stuff.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you can see a power forward just like completely like losing the ball, like because they're too big and they just get the ball stripped from them over and over again in the paint.
They do an illegal screen. Yeah. Absolutely own their team.
Wait, are you calling Zap Draymond?
Draymond's backpack shot. You know.
But no, like,
is there anyone close to Zap with that?
I don't think so.
Like I can like
you could argue Cyclone as well.
was like pretty consistent.
When I think of like a consistent Hunter, I think of like the
Vote too.
I think of like the Barra Ataraxia style, but I feel like that's different than like consistently making an impact. I feel like people like Barra Ataraxia were more like at the mercy of their team than Zap is. Like I feel like if Zap needs to flip the switch and just like randomly roam or like do something, he'll do it.
I put Zap more in like the point guard. I think like Barra's like I think Barra perfectly for this. Like he just played his role consistently. You know what I mean? Like
I could see that.
Yeah, I think Bear is good for this one. I think like Vote's like another person who's just like always slotted in and played just like a consistent game. Like he hasn't like done anything too crazy, nothing super flashy, and he just always
honestly.
there's a hunter.
I don't know who I said. I think we said like hardcore and stuff. Maybe it's just more because I've like I played with Vote this year, but like Vote's also like a little bit like jack of all trades. Like he does play like a lot of mages and stuff like that too. Maybe people didn't see it as much in the SPL as like I did, but I think we even.
You guys played Assassins.
Yeah,
as well.
we played like some Pele and some Set and stuff like that in ADC.
When I
Yeah,
think of Vote playing Major, I think of
the Raijin game.
Raging Game.
Oh
Wasn't that
my
when, like,
god!
people were first started playing Horus Jingwei, and
It
they're
was
like,
against
"Oh, it's an
Penguin,
OP combo," because he
Yeah.
just would CC chain them, and he died like 16 times or something.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that was sad.
That was
That was
such a funny
crazy.
game.
That was crazy.
He roll swapped to mid, right? Or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, I guess like for me, like when I think of power forward, just because I use Tim Duncan as the example of like the fundamental one.
That's why I put. That's why I think Zap.
That's Zap's there too, but I think like Barra does fit the fundamental thing. Like, I think Zap's just like.
Well, I think Zap fits it better because like Zap does like that's what makes Zap so good as a player, in my opinion, is that he does all the things in Smite that needs to be done, like clearing camps, like
he makes up a
calling
little plays,
rotations, like he does like all the fundamental Smite things that you're like when I'm teaching new people to play, like when I've done some coaching sessions, like all the things that that I'm telling these people, Zap does at the perfect level that you can possibly do it at.
Honestly, they're kind of maybe I view them similarly to how I would view you and I, as they've been around for so long. Like you could throw their name in with a lot of these, but like the thing excuse me, the thing I think of with Barra is like Barra's not dying to like COD ganks that much. I feel like he's really disciplined when it comes to like like playing back if people aren't on his side of the map and that type of thing. Like I feel like Zap like toes that line better than anyone else, and I think he's really smart with it. But I think like if you just looked at like the play you're supposed to make, I feel like Barra is normal.
I think I think Barra's the most consistent, while Zap has the best fundamentals. Is how I look at it. So however you want to look at it, that's where I would put.
I also feel like power forwards, like they just play within their role, right? They're never gonna like look off like the guard, you know what I mean? Like Barra's never gonna try to like take a 1v3 because he thinks he's gonna win, you know.
I think Barra fits.
That makes sense.
Barra definitely fits the role of power forward better than anybody else, I think. If you look at it, but if you look at it like as like someone like Tim Duncan, I feel like Zap fits that role really well. Like the big fundamental like of Smite is definitely Zap.
I feel like that is like an overall team thing, maybe even more than ADC. Zap's the type of guy like. I feel like Zap's the type of guy, especially in scrims, where he's like, I know this is bad, but I am gonna do it anyways. Like,
I mean, I'm that type of guy too.
I am too. Yeah.
At Cyno's expense.
I was like, I'm gonna go get this cloak stack.
Yeah, every jungler loves that. All right, who would you guys have for? I'm just gonna go like in order on the Smite roles, I guess, to make it easier. Like, power forward for support. Who fits that? For like the fundamental thing, I actually think that's where I'd put Ronnie.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like
and consistency as well.
Yeah, like
to be fair, both of them.
Consistent player. I think about Ronnie. Emilzi's a good one. Yeah.
Who else? I think those two.
Honestly, maybe Jigs back in the day.
Ionic.
A little bit. Ionic's a good one.
I think
maybe
Ionic.
Jeff. Where's Jeff on that?
Yeah,
No,
Jeff.
Jeff's a center, actually.
Yeah, Jeff's the center.
Jeff's
you're right.
a center.
Yeah.
I like Ronnie. I feel like he's a very consistent player, you know.
Yeah, like he's not gonna make a lot of, like you said, like he's just gonna stay within his role and he's not gonna make a lot of mistakes. And like
actually, that's true. Yeah, like you're not seeing Ronnie 1v3 contest a buff. Like you're not seeing Ronnie try to steal a gold fury or dive a tower. Like if he's by himself, like Ronnie's just like
you're not seeing Ronnie trying to 1v1 the jungler as well.
Yeah,
like you'll see like me, you or Jake just trying to fight the jungler like at like the Phoenix. Like Ronnie's like, I don't got time for this. I'm out of here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Ronnie's really good for this, I think.
Yeah.
What about mid lane?
Actually, maybe Moswell's a good one for this one.
Yeah, I think Moswell as well.
Moswell's interesting for sure.
Because like Moswell will just do what we wanted him to do.
I kind of think
maybe I'm
Pretty
biased.
Prime is good for the.
Dude, Moswell and Prime, perfect.
Yeah.
I think both those are the best, and it's not even close. Prime fits this so well.
Yeah, I think Prime's really like Prime when it comes to like just doing like what you want a mid laner to do, like having good AoE damage, like objective, like threat or secure, like being good on sieges. Like Prime's just like his whole god pool.
Consistently doing damage in every single game on whatever pick you put him on as well.
Yeah. Wait, have we said Yemen for any mid? By
Yeah,
the
we
way?
said Yemen for the shooting guard.
Okay, thank God. Like, there's no way we haven't said Yemen for anything.
We said I'm pretty sure we said. I think we said Yemen for shooting guard, right?
I think you did. For
I think
one
I
round.
mentioned it at least.
I just didn't remember
Yeah.
what role, but yeah.
I don't remember what Yemen. I don't really remember. I mean, obviously I knew he was good, but I actually don't remember what he played like, to be honest.
Yemen was. I feel like he was the first player that I thought was really good at hunters and mages a lot. I remember him playing like a lot of Chiron. Like
Yeah.
he'd play like Medusa.
I do remember him playing 8-second Mori Invis against me.
Yeah.
He played Zeus as well too.
Yeah, Zeus
like back in
player.
season 2. Like he was just. I feel like he just made plays on whatever he played
He
basically.
really was. Yeah.
Like dude, Trinidad came out in the tournament that they won.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And he told me,
It's like summer season 5.
yeah,
I think, yeah.
he's like, I've never played the character before, but I'm just gonna pick it at the tournament. And he picked it. And he was like making plays with it.
That
Like,
guy's
that's
just a good
literally
Smite player.
that's like
Yeah.
just Yemen. But yeah,
All right. How about for mid laner we put Maswal Prime.
yeah.
And then what about for jungle? Who's like the fundamental jungle player? Jungles in sport are tough because there's a lot of hard enters in the
Yeah.
I mean, when I think of a consistent jungler, I think of Panatone personally, but also Panatone can pop off in like hard carry games.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Are you saying Maswal can't pop off and carry a game?
he never did on my team.
Maswell definitely did.
No,
Though.
I'm just kidding.
I think Panatome is a good one for that as well.
Yeah.
If you think of it like as consistent,
Yeah.
but again, Panatone can like hard carry a game, so it's kind of hard.
I think I feel like Andy could fit it too a little bit. Like I do remember Andy playing like some Circuit and stuff like that, where it'd be like when I think of a jungler who's just like, it's tough because Andy's maybe more of a mix between like point guard, shooting guard, where he's like kind of setting the pace, but he's also like a hyper carry sort of thing.
What about Mask?
Mask's a good one. Mask was really good at like doing the jungler's job of like, he will be like he just always like played the map well, like paid attention to every lane, like that type of thing.
This is why we needed Nika, dude. We need some EU knowledge for some of the old
Yeah.
junglers. I'm trying to think of some of the EU.
What about like
old
Fred?
junglers.
Where do you put Fred for the stuff?
Oh yeah, we that's like
Fred,
someone,
actually,
yeah.
dude, maybe I like Fred
Oh,
for
wait.
this.
Also, did we not say Cherry for like point guard, by the way?
Oh, Cherry, we did.
Oh my
Cherry should for sure
god,
be point
yeah.
guard.
Okay, we need to go back, dude.
Yeah, Cherry for sure.
Cherry's gonna hate you if he ever sees this.
He already does. Yeah, Cherry for sure
Yeah.
for point guard. Honestly, maybe it should be Fred. Like, I feel like Fred's one of the most consistent players ever. Like,
Fred's a good one, actually.
Fred's perfect.
dude, every
yeah.
single split in Europe, Fred was on a top 2 team no matter what, and he was always playing well individually.
I like
always.
Fred and Panatone for this one.
Yeah,
I think
that
those
too.
are good.
What about for solo?
Mm,
It's Benji. It's gotta be Benji.
Benji.
I don't know who's even close to Benji.
Maybe
Haddix.
Haddix as well.
Harry Haddix,
Haddix is a
maybe.
good one.
Yeah,
Haddix is
Haddix.
good.
Like
But it's just got to be.
it's
Benji.
just Benji. Yeah.
Yeah. If you need a player, literally any role in Smite, if you need a player to do the job that you think their role is supposed to do and be really consistent at it, it's just Benji, and it's by a mile.
Yeah. And then did we get all of them?
That's all of them for power forward. Yeah.
All right. For center,
Well,
where do we want to start?
We should start on support because that's what we decide center was.
I think a lot of supports could fit this one pretty easily.
For sure. I actually like, if I'm not being biased and
Jeff?
saying one of us, I like Jeff and Raffer.
Jeff and Raffer, yeah. I like that too a lot. I think those hands down easy.
I think when most, especially like older Smite fans, when they think of a support player, I feel like Jeff is kind of the embodiment of like what Jeff's
100%.
mindset for like what a support was supposed to be. Jeff's like, I'm dying for my team. Even if I didn't die for my team, I'm dying for my team. No matter what, get down, Mr. President. Like,
Jeff is the most traditional support that you could have. So
for sure.
Like
Yeah.
he's gonna play really good defense and he's gonna just help his team in any way without asking for
honestly,
a lot.
maybe I like Raffer more on like
You can say Neil as well for this
Neil
one.
does the dirty work.
Yeah,
yeah, Neil's good too. Neil's a good one.
like Jeff, Neil, dude. That's why they've won. So like between the three of them, they've won five worlds.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, 5 worlds. I mean,
Neil set screens and let Paul score 50 points.
like you can't argue with the results. Like it's definitely not a bad style to play.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
those guys definitely win that. Like there for sure.
Yeah. All right. How about ADC? Hunter, whatever you want to call it. Dirty Work Hunter is this is maybe I think Zap could fit this too.
I was gonna think Zap as well because like
Yeah, maybe Zap's better for this one than he is for Power Forward.
I feel like Zap will get behind and he'll be like, okay, like I'll find a way, like
Yeah.
I also the big thing that I thought of the Zap
Amelito.
oh,
well
actually I
for
like
this
ML
one.
too. Yeah. The big thing I think about both those guys, I feel like they like maybe I like ML a lot too because ML would like both of them
Anorexia is a good
made
one.
plays that made their other backliner carry games really hard. Like Emil and Zap played really hard to like in different games. Like they could be the hyper carry, but also like they could bait themselves and let Paul and Yemen like be the star player.
Yeah. I think Anorexia is a good one too. I feel like kind of fits it. He just did a lot of
That's
the
a lot of the
work.
dirty work sort of thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
Those three.
Mid lane. I was gonna say Ven comes into my mind for
so
this.
what I was
one,
gonna say
too.
Ven.
Yeah.
I think Ven.
Oh yeah, you said it, and then I
Ven's
was
like
like,
the
I know what he's
perfect
talking
one,
about. Yeah.
Yeah, Ven.
He has like a lot of like invisible impact. I feel like that people
For
don't
sure.
recognize.
Dude, Ven is probably. It's kind of funny too, because even if like I did a power ranking for fun, like when I used to stream and stuff, like I'd always put Ven lower. Like Ven's placing on my like power ranking would always be lower than my opinion of him as a player, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
like I'd hold Ven in like pretty high regard for like everything he does as like a teammate or just being really professional, just like being flexible, doing all the like dirty work. But like, yeah, I'd say like him. I'd maybe even like when Hurry used to play, maybe you could say like Hurry for this sort of thing. Like he always kind of had a little bit of like a support mentality as a mid laner.
Yeah, Hurry's good too.
Is there any EU like mid laner who could fit?
I'm trying to think of an EU one too.
Maybe Dardas because he played support a little bit, like kind of fits that mentality of like doing the dirty work. Actually, on my team for sure, I could say Dardas. He's a dirty work player, a dirty work
a
player.
dirty work.
Yeah, he just does like, from my experience at least, he just does a lot of little things like, just like even like comms wise, I feel like there's something in common with like people like Jeff or Neil, or in this case like maybe like a Zap for center. I think like comms are a big part where like you're also like planning for your team or getting things going. I think Ven was that way when I played with him, and like Dardas is pretty similar too.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think Smite teams are just like NBA. Like you need good role players on your team.
For
like,
sure. Yeah.
If you think back to the Nets, 2021 Nets with Harden, Kyrie, and
Yeah.
they had no role players, so they didn't win. Like,
True. And they got injured.
yeah, that's true.
That is true too.
But like if like players on good teams for multiple years, they're
There's
not
a
getting
reason.
There's
they're
a
not getting
reason.
carried every single year, and people keep playing with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like people always make that meme about Twig. Twig has been on good teams not because he gets carried. There is a reason why Twig is on these good teams.
Honestly, that's a good segue to jungle because I think Twig fits it really well. Like, just a dirty work player. He'll do all the small things. He doesn't care about like what people's opinions of him are. Like,
I think Pern was a good one for this
I like
as well.
Pern too,
He did
yeah.
a lot of dirty work. Got people in the game.
I feel like support point guard or point guard center for both support and jungle. I think just have a lot of carryover because I think those would be the two roles I'd think of a lot.
Weekend's a good one for this as well.
Weekend's interesting.
For jungle.
Yeah, I like Weekend.
Yeah. I like
Oh,
Weekend a lot.
Cherry goes in this one too.
Yeah.
As well, I think.
Cherry for sure. I like all those. All those junglers are perfect for that.
Yeah. What about Soul Lane? Dirty work Soul Lane is, I feel like Harry maybe.
Yeah, variety.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of anybody else. Is there any NA dirty work soul laners?
Divios maybe?
Divios for sure.
Davios was fine playing the weak side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Divios is the best weak side player of all time.
Pretty rare to get a Soul Laner who's fine playing weak side.
Davios like, it's fine, guys. I'll hold the wave at my tower. Just play the other side.
Yeah.
I'll buy Guardian's Blessing, and I'll just sit here and watch the minions die.
Yeah. Honestly, this may be a weird one because I don't think he's as commonly thought of, but maybe like Zalia. Like, I feel like Zalia did a lot. Maybe, I don't know. Zalia did a lot of weird things too with like the whole carry stuff, but yeah. I need more EU knowledge on the Soul Lane one.
Yeah, same.
Soul Lane's just an NA dominated
I feel like
role,
we probably
sorry to
forgot
say
so
it.
many players, but
Yeah.
For sure.
Dude, that's why we needed an EU representative for this because now it feels bad because we probably left everybody's to be like, these guys are so biased. They don't know any of the EU players.
Did we say, I was trying to think of old energy. Like, I'm trying to think, like, for EU players, I'm trying to think of iconic teams. I think the only energy player we left out is Dimmy. Where would you put Dimmy?
Here, honestly.
Really?
I, feel
I
like-
was thinking maybe Dimmy for, if it's not Benji, for a really consistent player.
I guess that's true.
Dimmy was so consistent.
Dude, yeah, it has to be Benji and Dimmy for that one. Dimmy, I feel like you argued that Dimmy did a lot of the dirty work
He did
for
too,
energy.
yeah.
Like him and Raffer kind of just did a lot of things I want to notice. I feel like because I feel like Yemen, Emilito, and adapting were kind of in the spotlight, especially
Yeah.
adapting. And I feel like Dimmy and Raffer did so much to help their team, like behind the scenes and just like
Yeah, I think when you
invisible
guys-
stuff.
I think the two of you were talking earlier about like the impact that even like zoning two people could have, and I feel like Dimmy was kind of like that too, where like it was like a meme, like, oh, Dimmy's just playing for team fights, but like he fit his role on that team really good. Like he was just making space, and like he was always going in first for Kenneth, like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
What are some other like really good like EU teams? Like I'm thinking about like the old like Paradigm Dig team, like people like
Tricks and
Fun
Fred,
Ball,
Fun Ball.
Lob, Tricks, Fred.
I don't
Yeah,
think we said zeros for anyone.
I'd put zeros on the. I feel like maybe I'd put zeros between shooting guard and power forward for me, and I don't know which one.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I was thinking shooting guard, like
Yeah, like
when he played Kronos, like
Kronos and Mori and Soul.
Kronos, Mori, Soul.
That was it. Everybody always made that meme. Is that if you ban those three guys, zeros.
Yeah.
That was like the zeros meme back then.
Yeah, and like now, even nowadays, like he's in SEC now, but like last year on Mambo, he got like a little bit more attention because they did really well at all those tournaments. But, like a few of those EU boys, like himself included, they've been like Baba players for like years, and it's like those like consistent late game mages. Like what you think like of a mid laner's job, quote unquote. Yeah.
What about Wolfie, like from Rival? That's
I
a
like
good
him
one.
as small forward, actually.
Like Swiss Army knife type
Yeah.
player.
Yeah.
You played with Wolfie.
yeah, I would
actually.
say that.
Yeah.
Dude, the best is up there with the best like snipe player. Wolfie is.
He was
also
really
up
good
there,
at like
dude.
Raw and
Raw,
Janus, all
yeah.
those sort of things. Yeah.
I would say small forward. For him,
He's also, you know, well, he came up on my team with like Vote. We were talking about like old Rival,
Yeah.
and Wolfie's actually an underrated like hunter player too a little bit. Like I don't think it was like his best style, but like he did play. I remember he would play like Hachi mid. He was one of the first players I remember playing like Hachi mid a little bit. Like I think it was at the tournament where Baskin was playing Apollo and everything. I remember he was just like, I'll just play Hachi mid and like match it, like that type of thing. But yeah.
We didn't say Collis either. I don't think for.
I was gonna say Collis for shooting guard support a little bit. Well, it's weird because
he played like Ares and like
for like the let him cook
Fafnir.
thing, yeah, he was very maybe it was small forward because I think Noja was describing like if you're playing things that are out of meta, you're doing it because like you believe in it, not because you're told it. I kind of think that with Collis, like he had picks that like he had his god pool that he really liked and he knew how to make it work. Maybe genetics fits that too a little bit. Did we put genetics for any of these?
We put him for shooting guard. I think we mentioned him.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that.
You could put it in genetics for center as well. I think.
Yeah.
He has a lot of impact with relics and stuff like that.
He does for sure. Yeah,
With walls.
just a good player.
Are we missing any other like really good EU players that we haven't put for any of them?
Did you say
Help
fun
us
ball
chat.
for any of them?
We didn't say fun ball for any of them. I think fun ball probably dirty work type of player.
Yeah, I like fun ball for center or
Center.
small forward. I think.
I like that as well. He has done it all, I guess.
Yeah. What about like who are some of the
You said Frezzy as well, which was good earlier for
Yeah.
shooting guard. I think you mentioned him.
we talked about Emilzy. Who are some other? I'm just trying to think of like duo laners. Like there's random players throughout history like Shaggy Shank and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But like
Shaky Shank. I forgot about that.
yeah, I don't have enough experience against those guys to like place them somewhere.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to put. I mean, like it's hard to put those players who they just don't have a big body of work, and they like.
Yeah, they didn't
No
stick that
offense to
long.
them, they didn't
Yeah.
have a lot of like big wins or whatever. in
Yeah,
their
in
career,
tournament
so it's
settings,
hard.
that type of
Yeah.
thing. That's what's tough.
Oh,
about these-
Maniac's
Oh.
another one too. I think people have mentioned him a couple
I like
times. in
Maniac
chat.
for power forward or center. I think I don't know which one for Maniac.
I think more like he was pretty consistent. I feel
He
like
was, yeah.
across his entire career.
Maniac was kind of EU Divios a little bit. Is like the comparison I always had. Like I think Divios was like, I think most people think of Divios being better at it because I think he had more success and like did it over like a longer period of time. But I think like Maniac, I always thought was like a pretty good like weak side soul laner. Like I feel like he didn't need his team to play through him, and he was just like good frontliner, decent laner.
Ooh, two good ones. I just saw. Someone said Pain, and then we should. Where would we put Chaos as well? Those are two good ones that we never.
Chaos I'd put on center. Or
yeah.
I'd put Chaos on center for sure.
Uh-huh.
Pain's tough.
I feel like Pain. Everybody's
Pain's
the general Pain.
I feel like
meme.
Pain's the closest to Jeff of anyone.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Payne was kind of like
traditional support player.
very traditional, like that archetype. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever played against Payne. Maybe I did for one
No, you did.
season. Was he in the league in season
We
4?
scrimmed against Payne all the time in season 5. We scrimmed
he was
against
on the
his-
SEC team.
Yeah, he was on Paul's team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever played against him in SPL. Though.
Yeah.
You kind of said it with like Rudy Gay. Like when I use the word forgettable, I don't mean it in like a mean sense as if like they weren't good players, but like there were some other like Vedium for a little while was a good player. Like Met Yankee was a good player for a little bit. Like
those guys are both insanely good players.
yeah, and they like had different spots you could put them in.
There's probably so many EU players that are in that category that we're just
I'm trying
missing
so
as
hard
well.
to think of other EU players.
Yeah, me too. It's definitely rough. I mean, Young Babe, I guess, was around for launch tournament. He did well. Where would we put Young Babe?
My instant reaction is shooting guard, but I didn't play against him enough to really know.
Oh, Half Devil. I remember Half Devil's a good one.
Yeah, I remember Half Devil's name, but same thing. I
Yeah.
didn't get to play against him enough.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I apologize for my lack of
Did
knowledge
we put
for
Sam
some.
anywhere? Sam for soccer? Did we put him anywhere?
Didn't we
Sam is like I think of him as like a consistent jungler as well.
like
a small
power
forward.
or small forward? Yeah.
I
He
like.
played a lot of different stuff as well.
When you say power forward, not small forward, we're consistent, right?
Oh yeah.
I'd put Sam on power forward or shooting guard. I think one of those two. He's like he really is like.
I would say small forward as well though, because he did play a lot of different stuff. I feel.
Yeah,
Like.
that is true.
I remember him playing Mulan and like.
Mulan
Some mages as well.
Yeah.
We played against you guys like the second tournament. I think he played like Odin jungle as well.
He plays a lot of stuff for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. We talked about Deathwalker. We put Deathwalker in we put him in what would we say? We said
I think you
small
said him
forward?
for
or not small forward.
Point guard. You mentioned him.
Yeah,
and I think you
point
also mentioned him on
Not power forward. It was one other one.
Center we mentioned him on. I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
I think Deathwalker is definitely Deathwalker is another weird one because like he was just such a good player. Like at his peak, he probably was just the best soul laner in the world for a little bit. Like
Yeah, I mean the really good players are going to be like multiple categories.
yeah.
yeah,
That's why they're
definitely.
really good.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you're saying anyone who we only named once is bad? That's what you're
Exactly.
saying.
That's why I only named Moswell once.
Okay, we did say Cyclone for shooting guard and small forward. I think
Yeah.
on ADC, but also it's kind of a little criminal. We didn't say Cyclone for center. I think a little bit. I don't know how you guys feel. Like, I'm sure you have a better opinion on him than anyone because you've played with him for so long. But like, I do think of Cyclone being a very like team centric player, especially
Yeah.
on this version of your guys' team. Like,
For sure. I mean,
he does not mind being
ever
the guy
since I
who's
played
like,
with him,
yeah,
I'd
he
say-
does not mind being the guy who is like common and like doing the dirty work. Like I feel like Cyclone's one of the best like weak side ADC players. Like he can still have an
sure.
impact and like
I agree
do
with
stuff
that
for his
for sure.
team.
What about Allied? Allied's a good one too. Where would we put
Ooh,
Allied?
Allied's a really good name.
I don't know where we put him.
Oh, maybe that whole team like Allied, Incon, Kiki. I think you said Weekend for center. I'd put Allied on.
power forward maybe.
I was gonna say power forward or shooting guard. I like power forward because I feel like again it's like the weak side thing. Like I
Yeah.
don't think you didn't have to give Allied a lot of help in his
That guy was
lane.
the best X ball.
Yeah,
player.
he would just be consistent
player.
and he'd be a really good team fighter every game.
Yeah.
Where are you putting Mike, not Gino?
Gino's a shooting guard support for sure. Gino's a shooting guard support. That guy's ISO all day.
Dude, I love just tuning into a game every once in a while. I see Gino on Kumba. It always makes me happy. Like when I see him in a pick
Love
like
it.
that.
I love Gino Silvanas is like my favorite pick
Meerkat,
ever.
dude. Oh, where's Meerkat?
Meerkat?
He was kind of jack of all trades, I'd say.
Yeah. Meerkat's either he's small forward. Meerkat rolls.
You could argue he's a shooting guard like in season 2 a little bit.
Yeah.
In Soul
Soul
Lane.
Lane.
He was a playmaker.
He's a little tier Osiris player. Yeah.
Stealing fire giants over the wall and stuff like that.
Oh, what about okay, I do want to get Incon really quick. Where would Incon be?
You know what I just realized? Okay. I just forgot to change my stream title for this stream.
Oh, unlucky. It happens.
So for all the audio listeners, we stream the episode before it goes live, and I always forget to change
been really
my
good about
title.
it, actually.
Yeah, I've been good
You're
about
really
it.
good
I
about it.
forgot this time. I'm so funny, but yeah.
I feel like for like a month you've gotten it every time.
Yeah.
80%'s not bad.
Yeah, and you know what's funny too? I didn't mention it last week. Remember, we have audio issues with JMac when we entered the episode, right?
Oh yeah, we did.
Every time I stream, my mic is always muted, and it always takes like 15 minutes before someone comes in my chat and says, "Is he muted in chat?" And I've been talking this entire.
I'm not gonna lie, I would never even
stream.
know, because like if you're in the middle of the game, I'm just like, oh, he's just focused, no problem.
Yeah, no, that's what I think. That's what most people say, and then
Yeah.
every once in a while, someone comes in and says, "Oh, is he muted?" I'm like, "Oh, I've been muted this entire time."
That's good.
But yeah, it was funny that happened last week too.
Yeah, who was the player you said? It was a good player. I forget.
For which for
I don't know. I'd mentioned like it was like the old like Incon Allied like team, and then you said another player.
oh, I don't remember.
Did chat remind you?
I ruined it. No.
I feel like it was an EU player, but maybe I'm crazy.
Maugao? It was definitely not Maugao, but that guy is like, that guy plays some Hades. I know that. That's a let him
shooting
cook
guard
player.
boy. Yeah.
Omega. Where would we put Omega? A lot of people have mentioned
Power
Omega.
forward, I think. Yeah.
Just consistent. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Boosh. The Boosh was let him cook. No.
Bush is
shooting guard.
for sure. 100% shooting guard. Oh yeah, what about that whole COG Red team? Did we get everyone? I think you said Ionic for power forward too, as like consistent support.
We said Snoopy for shooting guard. We said, who else did we say? For Boosh, we just said now.
We put Gars for shooting guard too, I think.
Yeah, Gars and Andy for shooting guard, and then
Yeah.
Divios we've said for a couple as well. So yeah, best we said for shooting guard as well. But yeah, I mean,
A lot of the old players are shooting guards, huh? Like I'd put Stealth in shooting guard as well.
I feel like it's more like, it's funny. It's kind of like the NBA now, but it happened faster in Smite for whatever reason. But
We're saying there's like the lines get blurred a little bit.
yeah, like there was more traditional play like back in like preseason 5, I'd
honestly-
say. Like people had like their traditional, like mid laners were playing artillery majors that were like sniping you.
I mean, it makes sense because it's like the game knowledge thing. Because you go
Yeah.
from like you're like when you're playing mid, you're playing mages. When you play jungle, you're playing assassins. Like once people started to figure out like you kind of did it back in the day, you're like, oh, Fenrir can actually be a good support. Like once those lines get blurred initially, like people really start thinking outside the box. I still think there's like so much more people could do as well. It's
100%.
it just takes time and like just practicing as a team. Like there's just a lot that goes into
Like assassins could have been in the meta
Forever.
in mid forever ago, and like recently, like this year is like when it's like became like Pagon kind of started it last year, and,
I
and
love
Paul
playing with them. Yeah.
Paul played like Set like when Set came out as
Yeah,
well
like
in
season
mid.
7, I think Paul played it a lot.
And like besides like Paul playing that Set and Pagon playing as assassin picks last year, like there hasn't been that many assassin players in mid until like this current season. So
I've actually really liked it because I think I've said before, like with Baskin when we picked him up in season 5, like I remember he'd played a little bit on SSG, and like one of the first things Scream and I asked him was like, do you think that was actually troll or do you think it's good? Because like I think it could make sense and I think we could play with it. Like I thought the idea of like having Benji and Baskin be like, in my opinion, two of the best soul laners like in the world. We had them on the same team. I'm like, what if we just played a double TP like league meta and we literally just like flood one side of the map and we're just like, you know, like I thought there was a lot of potential with that stuff, but it's just hard to break out of those like molds as a team. You have to practice it a lot.
Especially for Baskin, yeah.
Yeah, Baskin's a very inside the box guy, unfortunately. What are you going to do?
yeah,
Are there any other older players we missed?
I'm sure.
Actually, I don't even mean older players. Like, are there people who were like maybe like season 5 who played and who were good and like maybe didn't move, something like that? Like I'd think of like Zeros with that, like he only played like 1 year, like players who fit that type of archetype.
like Trix and Fred.
I think we hit like
Fred
Ice
played
and
multiple.
Collis and stuff.
Amelito was another one.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I feel like we got a lot of people.
Yeah, if we missed anybody, I'm sure we missed a couple like pretty good. Like, I'm
There's
sure
gonna be one where we're like, oh my god,
Yeah.
how did we forget that. Yeah.
like we almost missed Cheerio.
Yeah,
Like that
Cheerio
would have been
was rough.
crazy if we missed Cherry, but like someone
Yeah.
reminded us. But yeah, I'm sure there's a couple other guys that if we missed out, I apologize, but it was fun. Do you guys have any other things you want to add to the Smite versus NBA position talk?
No, not really.
Yeah.
Do you guys have like oh, I don't know how to word this. Like a point maybe in your career where like you wanted to do another style? Because I think like probably for people like us who have played for a long time, like you kind of like for me, like the way Ronnie plays is very different from the way that like I play, for example. Was there like a point or maybe a style where you're like, I don't know if I'd say envious of it because it's a little weird, but you're like, oh, I really like watching that player. Like for me, I used to really like watching like Raffer, for example, because he was like, I felt like he thought so differently than I did. It was like cool to try to understand it.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever had a point like that, but I definitely had a point in my like playing, like I've talked about before, like season 7. I was kind of forced to change how I played, or I would have I was struggling way too much trying to do what I was doing in season 7 with the team that I was on.
Yeah.
So like I learned a lot and like completely changed my style overall, and it made me better. But there hasn't been a point where I've been,
for me, it's
like
a lot of the new guys. Like I just like watching all the supports in general, but like a lot of the new guys like Genetics and Jake, like they play a very different way than
I love how Jake plays actually too.
Yeah, so like I like watching those guys and thinking about like, oh, that's like why they do this. Like it's like a cool idea, or like the way they look at things is interesting to me. Yeah, what about you, Nozier? Has there been any jungler?
For sure. Like when I first started playing Smite seriously, I watched like Andy and Gars.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when like Homie was like top of like ranked. Like,
Homie was a ranked fiend, dude. Like I was crazy.
They just played like Thor and you know, all those characters they played.
Mm-hmm.
Homie's a Wheelix as well.
Yeah.
Oh, Homie was such
So I was like playing those characters, and then when I started watching SPL, like Twig, honestly, like Twig played so much different than all the other junglers. So like I remember him playing Talaria Boots, Wukong, and Asia. I'm like, oh, I want to try that, and then I ended up just playing way more like Twig than Andy and Gar.
I feel like people who, okay, just like we maybe don't have the best perspective on like older EU players, I feel like current SPL fans, or like if you're not like an NA player, I feel like when you think of Cyno now, you think of the like weird stuff, you know, like him playing like Chalk or Surtur or trying those type of things. But I feel like a lot of people don't remember you as like, I remember a lot of games like season 5, season 6 where he would play like
the hard
LA
carry
and Merc,
stuff.
he would hard carry the game. Like you played a couple of Wheelix games, I think, against us in the SPL. Carried
he was he was the first guy who popularized the Erlang one shot macro.
Dude, the Erlang one shot. I was just talking about that with somebody. The stone cutting when you would knock up and you'd have Crusher. And his passive used to proc stone cutting twice instantly.
With a dog, yeah.
So you could blink auto knock up too, and they would like insta die. That, I mean, that's when he was like so broke.
Dude, that character was messed up.
Busted,
dude,
yeah.
I mean, the first time you did it, you're like, oh my god. You're like, that guy just died to me. That was so funny.
I mean, I do think in season 6 when jungle was just like by far the worst role in the game, because one role got to ruin it for me, the jungle the entire year. Like, I feel that's when I started playing like a lot of different stuff.
1 out of 10 years you were on the other side of it.
Yeah, it was the worst year of my life.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've definitely changed my playstyle a bunch from when I first started in SPL.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of what you said earlier. Like, if you're a player who's been around for a long time, and like, I think for all three of us, we've had like multiple years where you've won phases or won tournaments or something like that. Like, if you have that type of continued success, like, you can't do that doing only one thing.
Yeah, you have to keep it. You have to keep changing how you play for sure.
Yeah.
To stay relevant, because the game changes all the time. So if you don't change with the game, you're just gonna get left in the dust.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, maybe I have one last thing before we end.
Okay.
I'd mention it with somebody like Shaq, where like people literally had to like change the rules of the game. Is there ever a point, like the only thing I can think of is like Invader's Curse? That's the only thing. Is there any other thing where somebody, like any player, any role did something that was so broken that we're like, okay, we got to change this? Invader's Curse was obvious with supports, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else.
What about like
that.
ADCs with like Hastened, or like what was it called back then? Fatalis. ADCs with Fatalis.
That's a good one. I don't think it's the same level as the Invader's Curse, but it's definitely a good one.
Because like now it's like a rule, like range characters do not really get access to it unless you like upgrade sprint, right?
Like you're saying, like Kronos and
yeah, like they took it off.
and Soul had it.
Soul,
dude,
yeah.
It's crazy that those characters had that.
So broken. Kronos especially, dude. The Soul one was crazy because she did so many other things well, but like Kronos was crazy because he would just and he hit hard. He hit harder than anyone. He was faster than anyone, and he had Fatalis. It was crazy. Maybe Soul Laners, honestly. I feel like Soul Laners have done a lot of things that have like really broken the game with like they either take support items and they do like the season 5 like whatever it was called, like Watchers meta with like all that type of stuff, or they've had a lot of metas where they're just abusing like other roles items.
Benevolence.
Yeah, Benevolence.
5 Benevolence, but they had to change that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So
It's not a specific role, but like the invade like debuff, you get less gold. Like that was a pretty massive change.
oh, that's
Oh.
huge. Just like,
Like,
an overarching
yeah,
thing. For,
I mean,
yeah.
Okay, I don't think
You could say it could be jungle, but it wasn't just jungle, so everyone would invade. But like that's like a pretty massive change they made.
I
feel like.
definitely would not. That was right after it was after we won season 4. I would not take credit for it for sure.
It didn't get changed till season 7. I thought.
It started season 5. They did the invade penalty. It was
I remember it being season 5. I think.
Season
the start,
5?
The start of season 5, they introduced the invade penalty and they moved speed further back in the map because
I remember that.
Yeah, because the meta all of season 4 was you would literally just chain invade stuff because the timer they made the timers shorter so that it was harder to chain invade and it was easier to get your own farm. They made there be an invade penalty and they moved speed back. That was all season.
I thought
5.
the golden XP penalty wasn't big until season 7. Though.
They buffed it. It was already there, but they buffed it.
Okay, that's what it was then. Because I remember invades used to still be good all the way until season 7 after
It was
first
'cause
split.
The start of season 7,
Yeah.
they did Invader's Curse, but it was only on speed, and then it wasn't enough. So then they introduced Hog, and then it still wasn't enough, and then they made the invade penalty even more.
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned as well. I don't know if it ever really affected SPL, but when I bought Bumbus Mask on like Sobek and Kronos and Ranked,
Oh, that's a good one.
yeah,
That
they
is a
took it
good
out of
one.
the
That's
game.
so good.
Dude, Ranked was really.
I actually did do that in the SPL, by the way.
Did you?
When
Yeah.
you were doing that ranked meta, yeah. It was against like a lower team, I think, at the time, so people didn't really take it seriously. But I played Baron back then, and it actually was like in my like core build, like third item.
I mean, I do think if it like, I feel like it should have been. I feel like it was. So
it was really.
broken,
I thought it was
yeah.
really good too.
Yeah.
I remember I played it in scrims, and I played Baron. The only reason I didn't do it more was because of the invade meta. Like I had to play characters that were good for the invade, so I felt like it was greedy to do that type of stuff. But yeah,
Sobek with Bree growth and that. Oh my god.
so crazy.
That was so dumb. You just super turn into a NASCAR.
Dude, and
The Guan Yu,
No,
the basking Guan Yu clip.
oh, also
Yeah.
Kronos when his one would give you like 80% movement speed and scale down with Bumbas.
Yeah.
Like I would literally just pop it and you could run through their entire team like back and
You had
forth.
like
and they
100% uptime with it too.
Yeah,
I think
and
like
they
on the
couldn't
2.
hit you, dude. Like,
Yeah.
it was so.
that is like my favorite ranked meta of all time, and all my previous teammates hated it. They hated it so much. I had so much fun.
It was so much fun. Like the movement speed would be like at 800 or something.
That's actually true, dude. On the intro, we dropped that. Cyno was like the creator of the Bumba's ranked meta.
That is true.
That's an iconic legacy thing right there.
Dude, that's a good one. This Haddix Ravana. It wasn't just Haddix. A lot of people played it. The Lono's mask with
Oh yeah, like the full damage
with
thing.
Sigil, yeah, or whatever
Yeah,
it was. Like
yeah.
that build was crazy.
People would do it on like Osiris as well. Yeah,
Yeah, that was
that was really
insane.
good. There's got to be something else I'm thinking of, but I think those are the
Dirty
main
bubble
things.
rank meta.
Dirty
But
Bubble.
they didn't change stuff
Yeah.
because of it, though. I feel like
Honestly, Dirty Bubble was like the intro of like people should have been playing like Bruiser style stuff more. I
Yeah.
think like the way like Paul builds breastplate, that type of thing. Like it was probably always like pretty good, and people just didn't do it.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine like back then, like if, these traditional. Well, Best did it actually. Best did.
Did he?
Yeah, Best used to go full tank Zeus in season 3.
Oh
In
yeah,
season 2.
because it was like the
Yeah.
helmet, like the 17.
You go helmet breastplate on Zeus. You go
Yes.
full tank Zeus. You go breastplate on Ra.
I do remember that actually. Yeah,
he actually Best did do that actually. There's one player who did it.
It's crazy. There was a 1700 gold item with flat pin and that much
SD
SD
and power.
and power.
Dude, I think it was maybe with relics a little bit too. Like I think of supports with this. Like I feel like the two of us and Neil, we abused horrific way more than anyone else. We're like the double chalice thing, season 5
Oh,
and duo.
that's-
Emilzy started the double
The
chalice.
chalice
thing.
with health pot thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one. They changed that. 'Cause
Yeah.
It was so broken.
Oh no, I was thinking of he could go health chalice, war chalice as well.
Oh, okay. No. I meant like
Yeah, the
20
when
health
health
per
pots and
second.
stuff stacked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was so
Busted.
broken, bro.
Absolutely busted.
That was crazy. Yeah.
It's funny because Soul Laners did it a lot too, but like no one cared because it was just a 1v1 and they both did it, so whatever. But like when ADCs and junglers started to come duo to try to kill the support and their health was just ticking up, yeah, that was broken.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I got everything too.
yeah, same. I think that's most of it. Thanks again, Noja, for taking the time coming on.
Can they find you anywhere on? What about your stream? You've been streaming a little
I
bit.
stream a little bit. Twitch.tv/Cyno4.
He played some Cleo the other day. I was watching. It was a treat.
I did nothing that game.
Unlucky. Team Gap.
What about like Twitter or anything like that?
I mean,
They can find you, right?
Twitter.com.
Wait, did you guys say your NBA Finals predictions? I said the Clippers. Did anyone else say anything?
We need to actually go over that.
I'm gonna say Celtics over Nuggets for me.
I'm saying Denver.
I think Celtics.
I'm going back to back, baby.
Dude, the only reason I'm not as high on Denver isn't because I don't think they're really good. I just think the West is so tough.
Yeah, but dude, Jokic is like.
Crazy.
I think he's gonna even be better this year than he was last year. Is what I think
about Jokic is like obviously Giannis is like a crazy good player, but you can like obviously see like weak points or scheme against him. I don't know, like how do you scheme against a player who can like score 40 and also if he doesn't want to score, he can just facilitate everyone else. Like that's so tough.
And he's pretty good on defense as well.
He's also it's hard to get him like Shaq, for example. You could try to like get him in foul trouble. Jokic really doesn't foul either. Like
he's so smart too. Like he plays so he doesn't. Like he's conditioned well now. Like that was one thing that a lot of people criticized him like earlier in his career, that his conditioning was really bad and like he would just not be able to run the floor well. Like now he runs the floor really well, but he like makes like he has the most kickballs like in the NBA by like a large margin. Like he plays good defense without exerting a lot of energy. Yeah. So he's just smart with how he plays.
Dude, also Meerkat originally was the one who sold me on this point, but people like to say Jokic isn't athletic. His hands are actually crazy. Like,
I mean, he has the best hand-eye coordination. Probably.
His hands are actually nuts. Like the amount of like, there's been so many like nuts passes that he's like caught that I would think like not many people could have like caught that. And he's just like one hand, like you know, like the rebounds or passes where he'll like tap it to another player.
Plays like water polo.
Yeah, it's like so controlled. It's so clean. Yeah,
he's
really good at that type of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's gonna be crazy this year. I think Denver's gonna win again.
You're a Lakers guy,
dude. I wore this shirt. Okay, one more thing. I wore this shirt because Mike. I have to bring this up on a basketball episode. Mike made this tweet saying Luka Doncic was gonna be a bust, and at some point of every single year since he's made that tweet, I've had to give him a hard time, and this is the time this year that I'm giving him a hard time.
There was no
freezing cold takes for.
There was yeah they did. There was no prior knowledge. I just picked a random person in the draft. I'm like, that guy's a bust.
See, Luka Doncic. I don't know if you can see, but it's a Doncic shirt. But yeah. Mike literally tweeted saying this guy sucks. He's overrated.
Dude, now I'm so high on Wemby, so I hope I don't curse him. I hope I don't curse Wemby.
Dude, I want to watch every Spurs game as well. Dude, sure. The other thing is I don't remember. Do you remember that thread got like traction outside of Smite for some reason? Remember there's
a freezing
freezing cold takes account that retweets bad takes that don't age well, and he retweeted Mike's tweet.
Okay, but no, it got traction like a couple days after. So there's like multiple times it got traction. There's some other sports guy. Remember he commented I fought with like some guy on the radio that had like a radio show like for some like awesome. Small radio station, and he was like arguing in the Twitter comments, and he blocked me, and that was the first time someone blocked me on Twitter because I was like trolling him. I'm like, dude, this guy sucks or something, and I was like completely kidding.
Dude, it's just proof. All you have to do to like all the hot take guys, like the Skip Bayless, the Stephen A, you just have to say crazy stuff and people will bite onto it.
That is actually true. That they're geniuses for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's all I got. I think we're good.
Yeah, right? I can't believe I almost forgot that. That's why I wore the shirt. I wore it to remind myself to bring it up.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks everybody for watching. We'll be back next weekend. Only a couple more weeks of the SPL to go, so maybe in a couple weeks from now we should think about. We'll update you guys just in case we change our schedule or whatever is on production's hands. But yeah, thanks everybody for watching. We'll be back next weekend. Aurora's Twitch. You can find the VODs on my YouTube at PBM Smite or on Spotify at Inside the SPL. Thanks everybody for watching and enjoy your day, night, wherever you are. Bye.
Have a good night. Bye.
Bye.
One If I'm Trolling from Professor BM. You can hear the audience. I wonder if they're